a line of credit or just a business loan. But with a little diligence and patience, funding your business should become something such as, second nature. So let's dive deep into it and look at exactly how are some ways that we can go about getting funding. We're also going to analyze different myths and mistakes that people make when they're trying to get funding for their business or they're just trying to start or boost their business. So, with that said, I thank you so much for joining me. If this is the first time, my name is Mel. This is Team U Credit and Finance, where we talk about all things money. For the sake of this video, we are talking about, having a business and getting funding for our business. We're talking about ways to get funding. We're also talking about the importance of having business funding in order to make our businesses thrive. So now that you have officially established business credit, now you're looking to see how to get more credit and to even get a bigger amount of credit. But when you apply for other business credit, you have lenders telling you that that your score isn't high enough or your score isn't sufficient to qualify for higher loan amounts. So let's get into it. Let's talk today about your business credit score, otherwise known as your PAYDEX score. All right, if this is the first time you're joining me, my name is Mel. This is Team U Credit and Finance, where we talk about credit. We talk about regular personal credit. We talk about business credit. We talk about anything having to do with finance. We talk about housing. We talk about deals. We talk about anything having to do with earning and saving our money. So let's discuss how your business credit score works. So just like your personal credit, every month you are scored. When you have a business, you're scored for your business credit. And so, and again, I'm going to keep making comparisons with personal and business credit because although they're two different things, although we're not commingling both of them, but we have to make our comparisons to really see the difference and the similarities with both to see how they work hand in hand. So, as I said, just like with the three credit bureaus, you'd have your TransUnion, your Equifax, and your Experian. And, every month, you get your credit report card of your personal finances. Well, if you flip it, now you have your business credit score, your business credit report card. That one is known as your PAYDEX score. And every month when you run a business, you also get those scores. Okay? And so your business credit score basically tell lenders or tell suppliers or people that you work with how you manage your business's credit, how you're managing the revenue that's coming in, how are you spending money, are you paying your bills on time in your business? Okay? Like I said, it's the same thing, just like your personal credit, but the only difference is that your business or your EIN number, aka tax ID, is the one that's being reported and being scored. With your personal credit, that's your social security number that allows you to get your credit report or your credit score every month. That's where your credit's being reported to. So let's dive into the PAYDEX score some more. So PAYDEX score ranges from 0 to 100, or your business credit score from 0 to 100. We know the difference that with personal credit that it's anywhere from 0 to 800, right? Or 800 plus. But in any event, the business credit score stops at 100. Now, the goal and the hope is that your credit score is, very high, your business credit score, because the higher your business credit score is the more or the better that you can qualify for more credit or for higher limits on business credit, also known as business funding. So you might be asking at this point, you might be saying, okay, well, what is, an ideal score for business credit? So from what I understand and what I've seen and what I've known and what I also research is that 80 is an ideal score. 80 says that you have good credit. If you notice, the 80 is very close to 100. But realistically, for a new person that's starting a business or just trying to build their business credit score, 80 might be a bit high. So let's try to see how we can work towards building at 80. So again, just like your personal credit, you might run your business credit score. And I'm going to tell you the places that you can get your business credit score from to know exactly what's on your report. So we have three places that really monitor your business credit score. The first one is Dun & Bradstreet. And I had mentioned before that Dun and Bradstreet gives you like a unique number. In other words, it's like a business identification number also, other than your tax ID. You have a Dun and Bradstreet number. When you have a Dun and Bradstreet number, that shows a lot of credibility to your business. That shows that you're well established. That shows that you're an ongoing business. That shows that this is not a fly by night activity. This is not something you just say you're doing. You actually have a Dun and Bradstreet number. Anyone that's looking to extend credit to you in your business should be able to look up your Dun and Bradstreet number. So again, Dun and Bradstreet requires for you to have for them to report a good score that you have at least an 80% or higher. I don't know. I guess there's people that might have 100, but if you have 80%, you're doing very, very well. And just like with personal credit, if your score is lower or your score is not as high for your business credit or to get funding, you might want to open accounts or show transactions with different accounts, something called net 30 accounts to get a higher paydex or higher business credit score. So Dun and Bradstreet is one of the corporations that you could actually get your business credit score from. Okay. The next one that you could get your business credit score from is Experian. Now, some of us are familiar with Experian already. Experian also gives a personal credit score. Difference with Dun and Bradstreet and Experian is that Dun and Bradstreet does not give us personal credit scores, but Experian does. But this is also known as Experian Business. Okay, Experian Business reports how you're managing your business credit each month. And as I said, it's really essential to know, where your business is being rated or where your business is being, reported to. Because it's like, okay, you have these accounts, but you're not really sure of who is giving you what or what score you're getting for these accounts. The business credit score is also reported to Experian or reported by Experian. All right, the next one that we have is Equifax. Again, just like Experian, Equifax also has a personal credit rating. But for the sake of this video and this information, we're talking about Equifax for business reporting. So those are the three: the Dun and Bradstreet, the Experian, and the Equifax. Those are the ones that report your business credit score. And our goal and our aim is to get 80 and above. So let's just quickly dive into how we can get a higher score. If this is the first time you're joining me, my name is Mel. This is Team New Credit and Finance, where we are talking about business credit scores today. We talk about business credit, we talk about regular credit, and we also talk about housing. We talk about leveling up, we talk about growing, earning, and making more money. So let's just dive right back in. So now that you've established your business, now you know where your credit's being reported, you know where you're getting your credit report card from. How about we talk about ways that we could build that business credit score to 80 or above? Okay, now different lenders might take different scores, but the average that most of them look for is anywhere if you're pushing up to like 80, then then you're really in a good ballpark for you to get funding. If you think about it, the higher your business credit score is, it's the easiest for you to get funding. So let's go back into some ways that we can basically get our business credit score up, our paydex score up. First thing that you want to do is you want to try to get those net 30 accounts. And you have places like Granger that you could order supplies from. And again, you have also other merchant accounts that, when you order from them, they report every month. And just like with regular credit, they watch you and see how you pay your bills. So if remember, if you're paying your bills good and everything is working well and you're actually getting it reported, you're building up your business credit score. So business credit score and personal credit score is similar in a sense that you're still paying your bills, you still have to pay it on time, you still have to be consistent with it, because you can't have it where you're paying sometimes or you're not paying all the time and your score is not being reported. It does make a difference. Okay, that's how you get that credit score builds up. Building those credit score up is a good way for you to get a lot of funding for your business. Now, ideally, a lot of people like to start with getting business credit cards. Business credit cards don't have to be the first thing that you get when it comes to funding. You could always, as I said, get those net 30 accounts or those merchant accounts. It still is reported on your business credit score each month. It doesn't really matter. If you get those merchant accounts or those net 30 accounts that are reported to your business credit score every month, to those three bureaus that I mentioned, Dun and Bradstreet, Experian, and Equifax, this is a gateway for you to be able to get actual business credit cards. All right. And again, with business credit cards, the limits are extremely high. Business credit cards aren't like regular credit cards where you're getting like maybe like 500 or 1,000. You could have a business credit card where they give you credit for maybe like $10,000. It all depends. But if you think about it, for you to get those higher limits, you basically need to have a good credit score. Just like with personal credit, if the score isn't high, you are not going to get those high limits. So it would behoove you to try to, get those merchant accounts going, pay on time, and get that score up. Okay. Again, if this is the first time you're joining me, my name is Mel. Welcome to Team U Credit and Finance, where we're discussing about getting our business credit score and ways to help us get higher amount of business credit, being that we have a good or a decent business credit score, also known as a PAYDEX score. Okay. So essentially, what you're doing is you are working towards having the ultimate or the optimal score, which is 80 and above. That's what you're working towards, because once you have that score, it's going to be very easy for you to get funding. Now, once you start getting funding or you start, opening business credit cards, you know that if you open one and you manage one good, you could always extend to get another one. A lot of companies, use business credit card, to buy supplies. They use business credit cards to, apply for other cards. They use business credit cards because if you can show that you already have one card consistently or two and you're consistently paying, that could work against you. I'm sorry, that could work with you in getting another credit card, another business credit card. So you always want to, if you're able to establish and open one, you always want to try to get another one. It's always good to have more in, more in your company, more in your business. The more the merrier, right? You see, when we have a business and we're running a business, we don't want it to be where we're just limited to just one place or to one way to fund our business. We have to have multiple sources of funding. So let's dive into another way how your Paydex score helps you to get funding. So now you have your merchant accounts that you've been paying consistently. You have your business credit cards. You have a few of them, even if you're just starting out with one. But now you have a few business credit cards. Now that you have those business credit cards, you're thinking about getting like loans or other type of funding for your business. That way, if you want to extend or you want to make your business better, you could also apply to get loans or other types of funding. Now, with the business credit cards, people use those to make specific purchases. Or, like let's say somebody travels in your company, maybe they have a business credit card to pay for flights, whatever you want to use your credit card for. Again, you're doing these transactions these months and you're showing that you are spending the card in your business. You're not doing personal transactions. So what I would tell you is this: once you even have those business credit cards, you're not going to be commingling accounts. You're not going to be commingling. You're not going to be doing personal transactions with your business credit card. Okay, you're just going to keep it separate, because the more you can separate it, because remember, as I've said before, when you have even that business bank account and you want to show a record of how you're spending that money, all your transactions, you don't want to mix the funds together. Okay, you don't want to commingle business and personal funds together. You want to keep them separate. And once you keep it separate, it just shows you have a consistency and you have your transactions that are going through the business account, right? So those are some of the ways that you build it up. So once you're built up with the merchant accounts, you're building up with the business credit cards. Let's segue and go into getting funding, right? Funding is much easier to apply for now, because with when you apply for funding, when you apply for loans for your business, remember, you're going to show your record of your business credit cards. You're going to show the record of your merchant accounts or your net 30 accounts, right? You also have your business bank statements, and you also have a little time on the bank statements to show exactly how you've been managing those monies. Now, on the business bank statements, right? How does that work when you apply for the loan? When you have the business bank statements just showing the transactions in and out, okay? When you get the business bank accounts, you want to ensure that every single thing that you're doing for the business, you're doing it through the bank accounts. Don't mix. I don't care if you have a business where you run an auto type business and you buy gas for your car, you buy fuel. Okay, let's say you have like a trucking company, you buy fuel for your trucks. Do it in your business bank account. All right. Some of those cards, even if you get like some of those cards where you get gas or whatever you get, okay, those things, those cards, okay, those are business credit cards also. Those cards are also reported to Dun and Bradstreet, Equifax, and Experian. They still report them because again, you're still doing transactions, right? So now I want to hear from you. I want to know if you started the process of trying to build up your business credit score. Have you gotten business credit? Where are you in your business credit journey? What have you gotten? Are you aware of the three bureaus that actually score you when it comes to a business? Do you know that each month you get a business report card just like with your personal credit? There is no difference. The only difference is that they're reporting to the business credit bureaus. The business credit bureaus are the ones that actually score your business. And this is the reason why you needed or you should have gotten, if you legitimately established a business, you should have gotten that tax ID number slash EIN number. Because your tax ID and your EIN number is what they use to report to the business credit bureaus. Okay? That is what lenders, whether it's a credit card, a business credit card, it's a merchant account, it's, for a loan or some other type of funding, they're going to be looking at your tax ID slash your EIN number. Okay. And they also look at your statements. So if you know that you want to get funding, I would say don't get discouraged about not getting enough funding. All you really have to do is just ensure that whatever accounts that you have, that they're properly being reported. And again, just like with regular credit, if you know you're reporting your accounts and you're making your purchases, within the business, it doesn't matter. Just like your personal credit, you can pull your business credit score to see exactly what is being reported. I tell anybody, whether business or personal, you have to definitely get your credit score, and get your credit report, I'm sorry, and check and see that the things are being accurately reported. Now, if merchants, or I'm sorry, if lenders make mistakes on it, you have a right to dispute it. There is no difference. The only difference is that it's being reported about your business. So, those are just some of the tips that I would, give anyone to just be vigilant about your credit score, your business credit score, rather. Just be vigilant about how it's being reported. Look at it, compare it, check, ensure that it's actually being reported accurately, ensure that you're getting your score each month. And just like with your regular credit, if something is on your business, credit report and it's not accurate, you have a right to dispute it with the bureaus. It works the same way. Only difference is that you're ensuring that your credit is being reported about your business properly to the three bureaus. Everyone has to be aware and vigilant of how business credit really works, because a lot of business owners often get frustrated because they say, listen, I'm doing everything right, I have my merchant accounts, I'm paying my bills each month, but yet I can't seem to really get a bigger or a better amount of credit. And sometimes they just don't know that, okay, that they have to check and see how it's being reported. That paydex score is literally the meat and potatoes of how you get funding. Okay. If the paydex score isn't, high enough, or it's not up to par, you're not going to qualify for any type of funding. You're not going to qualify for those business credit cards. You're not going to qualify for those loans that you want to make your business bigger. All right. As business owners, we should always try to ensure that we have enough money, because money is the last thing that you should be worrying about. Yes, you are concerned about making money for your business. Yes, you want your business to thrive. But when I say money is the last thing that you should worry about, I'm talking about you shouldn't be worrying about if you have enough credit or you have enough money in the business to purchase supplies or to provide services to people, because we know that money makes money. You got to have some type of money to start, right? You should not be worried about that. Your biggest thing that you should be worrying about is just running your business with, enough money, or your business generating enough revenue for you to make a profit. That is your biggest concern right now. It is absolutely nothing else. So with that said, if this content resonates with you, share the video, drop a comment, let me know where you are in your business credit journey. Because again, once we have our business credit, we have our money, there is no telling how far we can definitely go with this. So, beautiful people, team, thank you so much for joining me today. Again, my name is Mel. This is Team You Credit and Finance. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share the video. It would really help for anyone that is trying to get started with business credit, that is really not aware of how business credit really works, specifically how your paydex score works and how you're being rated and scored. A lot of people don't know, that they literally get a business credit score. They don't know that, that each month, just like with your personal score, that you get a report that goes to the three bureaus. A lot of people are not aware that there's three major business credit bureaus that actually report exactly how you're doing. So with that said, I just hope that anyone that sees this, that they could, research. And another thing I want to tell you is that please, always, always know exactly what they're reporting about you. Know exactly what's being reported about your business. Ensure that your business address is properly reported. Ensure that your company's expenditures, the revenue that you're making is properly reported. Ensure that your transactions are being properly reported. Okay, because those things that are being reported on there makes a difference in your business thriving and being able to get funding, right? The worst thing is that we don't want to, have a business and because of inaccuracies that's being reported, with our paydex score to the business credit bureaus where we're not allowed to get funding or we can't get funding. Again, we're not here to be frustrated. We're just here to make our money and let our businesses grow. So with that said, beautiful people, thank you so much. Team, have a wonderful, wonderful day. So you want to build business credit fast, but you don't know how to, or you're stuck, or you've tried, you just don't know where and what to turn to start building business credit. So let's talk about it. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about 5 accounts that you can use. They're called Net30 accounts to build business credit and actually start your journey to get your funding. Okay? My name is Mel. This is Team U Credit and Finance, where we talk about all things money. For today's video, we're going to be focusing on building business credit, where to start building it, what accounts to use. So let's dive into it. So I basically have a list here because I didn't want to leave anything out. I just wanted to make sure that I'm giving you everything. Now, the list that I'm going to give to you, maybe it sounds a little bit cliche because I know there's hundreds of videos that are talking about getting business credit and they're talking about the accounts, but you know, the question is, are they really breaking it down and telling exactly, what these accounts do and how to use these accounts to build business credit? All right. So with business credit, there's a few ways to develop or earn that credibility to make lenders want to, lend you your money or give you their money to build that credit. So if you're having a hard time building business credit or you find it very difficult to get anyone to give you credit, such as a business credit card or funding or even a line of credit where you can draw from it, the best or the easiest way is to get some merchant accounts, also known as Net30 accounts. So let me explain to you exactly what Net30 accounts are. So they're exactly what they sound like. You net after 30 days, okay? You could purchase something, and after 30 days, exactly, they would like to have their payment back. And that's how you build up credibility, and that's how you open up your credit profile with the Net30 accounts. So let's dive into a few of them that people use, especially for startups or for new businesses that want to establish and want to build business credit. So to build business credit fast, the list that I have here is the first one that I have is something called Uline. That's Uline. So Uline is a company or a Net30 that actually, sells businesses shipping supplies and packaging supplies. All right. That's what Uline does. You could order your shipping and packaging supplies from this company. This one is great because again, if you have your office, you're into the shipping business, whatever it is, you could just go online, look at what they have, and you could also order from them. And the same routine, they pay, every 30 days you pay them their money. And I'm going to keep urging and emphasizing throughout this video, please do not pay these people late. Do not pay them late. It's better that you even pay a little bit earlier than you are supposed to. So for example, like let's say you use the account and you happen to come across someone in the business, instead of waiting until the 30 days that it's due, you want to quickly pay them, or let's say you just like use it just to utilize it and you happen to have the money where you could pay, I'd say to pay it back right away. Because the more credibility you can show that lender is the quicker and the better way for you to build that business credit or to build that line of trust and line of credit with them. They would definitely love if you could build that up. So the next one that you're going to use is Quill. Now, Quill is really cool for getting office supplies, your stationery, your pen and paper, whatever you use in the office. Quill is good with that to pick those things up. And again, you go online, you could always order. You guys still have that little Net30 account When you order from them, depending what you order, you get your supplies mailed right to you. It's fabulous because you're building credit at the same time, especially with Quill. And just as a side note, these companies or these, net 30 accounts that I'm literally giving you, for the life of me that I can remember with building business credit, they've been around for so long. They've been around for so long helping people to build business credit. So again, this is not something new. The reason I mention this is because these are reputable companies that help, you know, companies help businesses to build their credit profile up. But again, you have to use it responsibly. And once you're using it responsibly, it's a lot easier for you to build that business credit. So the next one that I want to talk about is Granger. Now, Granger is not like the Uline and the Quill. Granger focuses and centers on tools and industrial supplies. We need tools. We use tools to build things or to fix things. That's exactly what Granger does. So if you're into a business where you fix things or you need supplies such as tools and so forth for your business, Granger is great to start. And the procedure is the same with all of them. You apply. But I just also want to point out that when you do apply to these companies, right? When you apply to these companies and you try to, get the funding or get the business credit for these companies, you also have to bear in mind that you still have to be an established business. And I know it might sound a little cliche to keep saying it because you will have people that are, instead of using their legitimate business and instead of using their tax ID to set up these merchant accounts, they're literally using their social security number. Now, again, that's a whole different line of, setting up with taxes. That's a different video. But all I'm simply saying is that please ensure that you have a legitimate business that you're using to set up these net 30 accounts, right? Because remember, you're going to have to make payment every 30 days. And I would assume that they are going to be taking payment out of your business bank account. Again, in business, I always tell people that the biggest thing in business is looking and being legit. More so being legit. You want to take accounts or you want to take products and supplies. You want to set up accounts. You want to take products and supplies from these people or these, net 30 accounts. But if you don't have a legitimate business, what sense is it going to make? You're just going to frustrate yourself because you're not going to qualify you. They're not going to allow you to do it. They're going to tell you when you have your actual business, then you could come and do business with them. So if you're looking to, make tools or if you're looking to buy tools or any type of industrial supply, Granger is great for you to start. Now, these companies I'm giving you, these are just some companies that allow you to build business credit fast, meaning that you don't have to go into the bank and just literally try to get that business credit card because banks, I'm not saying when you open a business that a bank cannot give you a business credit card. Yes, you can get a business credit card, but many a times you get a business credit card based off of your own personal credit. They're going to run that. So if you know that your personal credit is not as strong to qualify to get a business credit card or a business line of credit, then the Net 30 accounts is a great place to start. It's a really good place to start. It's good to, basically establish your business credit profile. And again, you're building business credibility fast. You're doing it quickly. What you're doing with these merchants accounts. So I don't care, whatever it is that you need for your business. If you need office supplies, do it through Uline. If you need, if you need office supply, you could do it through Uline for packaging. If you need other office supplies, you go to Quill. And if you need any type of shipping supplies, go back to Uline and Granger's for the tools. Utilize these companies because I don't care what business you're in. Every single business requires and needs some type of supplies, preferably office supplies, because you got to run your business, right? Again, please, team, please comment, like, subscribe, smash the like button, push this video through the algorithm. I'm sure there's somebody out there who's trying to start or get business credit and would love to know on how to utilize these accounts or even where these accounts are to utilize them. So again, please, pass this information through. Please comment, like, subscribe, and share. All right, so the next company that I have that helps you to build business credit fast is Staples. Good old-fashioned Staples. Love Staples, going to Staples all the time. Staples, as you know, provides, office furniture. If you need that beautiful desk to put inside your nice office, Staples is good for that. If you also need, stationery, you need pens, papers, etc., whatever it is, a stapler, it doesn't matter. Staples is good for it. And Staples also sells things for technology, like, if you need like your little laptop, your desktop, and so forth, Staples is a good place to get it. And again, I'm not promoting any specific company, but for me, the one of the frustrations that I've had when I've started businesses, literally, knowing where to get the stuff that I needed. A lot of times, people don't tell you they gatekeep, but I'm here to tell you that Staples is great for getting like your office supplies. And again, we are going to get our office supplies from Staples because we are building our Net 30 accounts. We're going to use, and these, I also want to point out that these accounts are easy to start. All you really need is just a legitimate business. You go in there, or I'm sure you could apply online, and you just literally show them your articles of formation for your business and your business bank account. Okay? The same stuff that you've been using to establish that business, the same thing you used to open these Net 30 accounts, right? But opening a Net 30 account should not be difficult. You should not be feeling frustrated. You should not be annoyed. Somebody shouldn't be giving you a hard time about getting a merchant account, because these supplies that you're going to be purchasing with these accounts, they're necessary. It doesn't matter what business that you're in. Everybody needs supplies for their business. Everybody needs office supplies to conduct their business. So if you're looking for, your office furniture, technological stuff, Staples is your go-to, right? And the next one that's, pretty easy, or, quick, or using it as a quick way to build business supply is your Home Depot. Now, again, this might sound a little cliche, but Home Depot is a construction store. So you see all the people that do construction, all the guys and the gals that do construction go in there and they buy all of their materials. Well, I have news for you. A lot of people that you see in Home Depot buying stuff, they're buying it through their Net 30 accounts. But as I always say, and I always break it down, you have to definitely pay these accounts back in 30 days. That's why they're called Net 30s. And I've repeated it several times. I've said it in this video several times, and I've said it in other videos. You must ensure that you pay these Net 30s literally on the 30th day or before. If it's me and I have a Net 30 account, I'm literally trying to make my payment a little earlier. If it's me and I come across a little bit of money before the payment is due, I'm going to send it in. So I was doing live on personal credit, and a gentleman that I was on the live with me had a really, really great suggestion, and I think it. So if you have any money and it's easier for you to pay back those Net 30s before the 30-day mark, I would advise you to do it. I would advise you to definitely go in and do it. Now, as far as Home Depot, I don't know if you're into construction or you're not into it. If you're into construction, that's fine. Doesn't matter. You're just trying to establish these accounts. You're just trying to pay them off in time because you want to build up some form of credibility. You want to show that you can manage a Net 30 account. So when you apply for the bigger accounts, such as the business credit card, and you apply for the lines of credit, you want to ensure that you could, show the banks that you could pay these off. And they definitely appreciate you paying those accounts off. Again, team, if this is the first time you're joining me, my name is Mel. This is Team Credit and Finance, where we talk about all things finance. Today, we're talking about credit. We're talking about building business credit. We're talking about how to build business credit, not just building it, but building it fast. Okay, we're trying to stack as much money as possible so we can have enough money to let our business flow. We can buy our supplies, we can order things, we can perform our services, and not have to worry about where am I going to get funding. I always tell people in my videos, I say, a lot of people understand that, starting a business is a lot of people's dream, but a lot of people worry about money. They worry about where the money is going to come from. They worry if they're going to have funding. They worry if they're going to have enough to buy supplies and materials, for the next fiscal year in their business. We don't want to worry about that anymore. This is why it's so imperative that we should secure funding. So, as I said, Uline, Quill, Granger, Staples, Home Depot, those five that I've given you, those are easy ways, or those are quick accounts that you can establish and open to, build some credibility with your business profile, right? And the thing about it is, you don't, as long as you have your business and it's legit, you don't need a co-signer or a co-borrower to, to get a business, a net 30 account for your business. You don't need a co-borrower. What you really just need is just the fact that you're a legitimate business and to show, that you've been making your payment over time. Remember, the net 30 accounts report to the Business Credit Bureau, which is exactly what you want. You want them to talk to Dun and Bradstreet. You want them to talk to Equifax Business. You want to talk to Experian Business. You want them to start developing that credit report card for you, that business credit report card. So when that business credit report card is developed, you can apply to get bigger and better loans. But these net 30 accounts, these accounts are basically a stepping stone to getting the bigger accounts or the bigger credit cards or the lines of credits. This is what these accounts are used for. So if it's me, I would definitely utilize them. And once I utilize the accounts, this is a great way for me to establish business credit fast. Again, if this is the first time you're joining me, my name is Mel. This is Team U Credit and Finance, where we talk about all things finance. In today's video, we are talking about obtaining and getting business credit as fast and as soon as possible so we can get money to be able to buy the things that we need for our businesses and not worry about not having enough money to meet our financial demands in our business. I also want to point out one last thing about these accounts. Just ensure that, when you open these accounts and you're having your things shipped. Another thing that, that shows credibility in the business, when you're having, things that are shipping and coming to your business with those transactions, you want to ensure that, that your shipments are coming to your business. They're going to your wherever your business address is. Okay. Again, banks look for consistency. You can't, have a Uline account where you're ordering packaging supplies and you're sending it to your home office. Does it, you're sending to your home residence. Okay, if your office is at your home, then that's fine. But you can't be having, your supplies or whatever you're ordering coming to your home address when you have already established a business. You have a business address and a business bank account. It doesn't look professional. It looks, I'd rather say it looks tacky. You don't look serious. You don't look like a real business owner. It looks like you're just setting something up to get it. So as I always say, when banks, qualify you for certain products, they have certain criteria that they go by. I would ensure that my packages are being mailed to my legitimate business address or where my legitimate business is. We don't, the word for today, whether you're opening a bank account, whether you're just doing the merchant accounts, we don't commingle. We don't mix things. All right. Whenever we have our packages shipped out, or we have, supplies that we order with these 5 accounts that I mentioned, we either pick them up ourselves, we go to the Home Depot, that one, and pick it up ourselves, or we have them shipped and sent to our legitimate place of business. You're showing consistency. You're showing that you're picking up materials. You're showing that this is where, you bought your things. You're showing that, okay, I have a legitimate business and this is where I require my shipments to come. Because remember, with net 30 accounts, basically, there's a lot of shipping involved. There's a lot of shipping involved. Because remember, these places supply things, especially like stationery. They supply things. They supply office supplies. They supply tools. They supply things for packaging. They supply things for mailing things out. So again, you're just quickly using these type of accounts to get the things that you need, to establish that you have a legitimate business. And every legitimate business needs supplies for their business. So I wouldn't have my business supplies that I'm using or I'm buying with my net 30 accounts going to my personal home. I would have my business supplies literally coming to my business. Shows credibility, shows consistency, show that you're serious minded and that you're definitely utilizing these accounts. Okay? As I always advise, if this content resonates with you, please like, share, subscribe, pass the video on to somebody who's trying to establish business credit. Show them or let them know that they can easily get business credit through opening Net 30 accounts, or opening these. They also call them vendor accounts. Okay, these are vendors that specifically specialize in helping businesses, whether it be new or older business, but most likely or most times these Net 30s are used by new businesses trying to establish business credit. So in actuality, what I want you to take away from today, you don't have to drive yourself crazy trying to establish business credit. Crawl before you walk. Rather than expecting to take out a credit card where you're going to get a $10,000 or $5,000 limit for a business credit card right away, start with the Net 30 accounts. That way you can build up your credibility. And once you build up your credibility with those accounts, then you can go and apply, for your business credit cards and your line of credit. Sometimes it's good to have a mixture. If you have your Net 30 accounts, you can have a mixture. One thing that we need to learn about credit is that, even on the personal credit, it's a mixture of things that make up your credit profile, right? So just like this with these, business accounts, right? Or with these Net 30 accounts, it's good to have a mix. If you're just starting to establish credit, you're just trying to do, business credit and so forth, start with the Net 30s, and then later, as things get better, then you jump and you get the the business credit cards. Okay, that's it. That's how you're going to do it. You're going to apply for the line of credit to get funding. That's how you're going to do it. Funding comes in all different ways. You don't literally have to have a credit card to be able to have it. I don't know about you, but if I have a business and, for example, if I need office supplies and Quill is giving me a merchant account, I'm definitely taking it. I don't really need to have Quill's credit card in my hand that to put me in trouble or to make me buy things that I don't necessarily need to buy. I think these merchant or these Net 30 accounts, they're good because you specifically buy what you need to buy while you're building up your credit, with some type of credibility. You get exactly what you need to buy. You're not putting anything extra in it. You're not buying unnecessary materials. Sometimes with like regular credit, when we have extra credit, we tend to buy things that we don't need, and we only swipe that card because we had it in our hand. All right. If you was to go into Home Depot and you're just buying, I don't know, maybe some screws, you're only gonna buy what you need, which is good. You don't want to take on any extra additional bill. And when you take that extra additional bill on, you can't afford to pay it. And you're there feeling frustrated. It doesn't make sense. Again, I always tell people that you don't want to frustrate yourself when you're trying to get your business together. It doesn't make any sense. You want to have a peaceful flow in your business with your money. You want to make sure that everything is, you're seeing what revenue is being generated from what's coming in. And you're separating your business credit to make your purchases and to basically, build your business's financial credibility up. That is the importance of having business credit. So again, if this is the first time you're joining me, my name is Mel from Team U Credit and Finance. If you got this far in my video, I thank you so much. Please comment, like, subscribe, and share. Share the information to somebody that might, whether it's you or someone else that's trying to establish business credit. Please, help this go through, and hopefully they could get some type of information or some type of help from seeing this video. With that said, team, have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so much for your time. See you in the next video. If you're finding it difficult to get funding through business credit cards, through a business line of credit, or through a traditional loan, another great place that you can contact to get funding is through the SBA, the Small Business Administration. The SBA focuses on helping businesses, especially small businesses, as the title says, to get funding. So once you contact the SBA, they have different loans that you could apply for. Now, you don't apply for the loans directly through the SBA. You go through lenders that the SBA is, contracted with, or lenders that the SBA works with. These lenders are helpful in helping you to get the money that you need. But of course, with any type of business funding, there are requirements and you have to qualify. And just like with all the other places that you would have applied for the money, you have to show the lender that is through the SBA that you do qualify and that your business is deemed to get that money. So again, you could easily Google SBA.gov. Once you Google SBA.gov, you will be able to see exactly what lenders. You put in your zip code, it tells you what lenders offer that type of money. okay, or for that type of funding that you could apply for. So again, there's many ways to get funding. It doesn't mean because you got rejected for a business credit card or a business bank account that you are not going to get that funding. Okay, just apply. You should be able to get funding soon. So you want to build business credit fast, but you don't know how to, or you're stuck, or you've tried, you just don't know where and what to turn to start building business credit. So let's talk about it. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about 5 accounts that you can use. They're called Net30 accounts to build business credit and actually start your journey to get your funding. Okay? My name is Mel. This is Team U Credit and Finance, where we talk about all things money. For today's video, we're going to be focusing on building business credit, where to start building it, what accounts to use. So let's dive into it. So I basically have a list here because I didn't want to leave anything out. I just wanted to make sure that I'm giving you everything. Now, the list that I'm going to give to you, maybe it sounds a little bit cliche because I know there's hundreds of videos that are talking about getting business credit and they're talking about the accounts, but the question is, are they really breaking it down and telling you exactly, what these accounts do and how to use these accounts to build business credit? All right. So with business credit, there's a few ways to develop or earn that credibility to make lenders want to, lend you your money or give you their money to build that credit. So if you're having a hard time building business credit, or you find it very difficult to get anyone to give you credit, such as a business credit card or funding or even a line of credit where you can draw from it, the best or the easiest way is to get some merchant accounts, also known as Net30 accounts. So let me explain to you exactly what Net30 accounts are. So they're exactly what they sound like. You net after 30 days, okay? You could purchase something, and after 30 days, exactly, they would like to have their payment back. And that's how you build up credibility, and that's how you open up your credit profile with the Net30 accounts. So let's dive into a few of them that people use, especially for startups or for new businesses that want to establish and want to build business credit. So to build business credit fast, the list that I have here is, the first one that I have is something called Uline. That's Uline. So Uline is a company or a Net30 that actually, sells businesses shipping supplies and packaging supplies. All right. That's what Uline does. You could order your shipping and packaging supplies from this company. This one is great because, again, if you have your office, you're into the shipping business, whatever it is, you could just go online, look at what they have, and you could also order from them. And the same routine, they pay, every 30 days you pay them their money. And I'm going to keep urging and emphasizing throughout this video, please do not pay these people late. Do not pay them late. It's better that you even pay a little bit earlier than you are supposed to. So for example, like let's say you use the account and you happen to come across someone in the business, instead of waiting until the 30 days that it's due, you want to quickly pay them, or let's say you just like use it just to utilize it and you happen to have the money where you could pay, I'd say to pay it back right away, because the more credibility you can show that lender is the quicker and the better way for you to build that business credit, or to build that line of trust and line of credit with them. They would definitely love if you could build that up. So the next one that you're going to use is Quill. Now, Quill is really cool for getting office supplies, your stationery, your pen and paper, whatever you use in the office. Quill is good with that to pick those things up. And again, you go online, you could always order. You guys still have that little Net30 account. When you order from them, depending what you order, you get your supplies mailed right to you. It's fabulous because you're building credit at the same time, especially with Quill. And just as a side note, these companies or these, Net30 accounts that I'm literally giving you, for the life of me that I can remember with building business credit, they've been around for so long. They've been around for so long helping people to build business credit. So again, this is not something new. The reason I mention this is because these are reputable companies that help, help businesses to build their credit profile up. But again, you have to use it responsibly. And once you're using it responsibly, it's a lot easier for you to build that business credit. So the next one that I want to talk about is Granger. Now, Granger is not like the Uline and the Quill. Granger focuses and centers on tools and industrial supplies. We need tools. We use tools to build things or to fix things. That's exactly what Granger does. So if you're into a business where you fix things or you need supplies such as tools and so forth for your business, Granger is great to start. And the procedure is the same with all of them. You apply. But I just also want to point out that when you do apply to these companies, right? When you apply to these companies and you try to, get the funding or get the business credit for these companies, you also have to bear in mind that you still have to be an established business. And I know it might sound a little cliche to keep saying it because you will have people that are, instead of using their legitimate business and instead of using their tax ID to set up these merchant accounts, they're literally using their social security number. Now, again, that's a whole different line of, setting up with taxes. That's a different video. But all I'm simply saying is that please ensure that you have a legitimate business that you're using to set up these net 30 accounts, right? Because remember, you're going to have to make payment every 30 days. And I would assume that they are going to be taking payment out of your business bank account. Again, in business, I always tell people that the biggest thing in business is looking and being legit. More so being legit. You want to take accounts or you want to take products and supplies. You want to set up accounts, you want to take products and supplies from these people or these, net 30 accounts. But if you don't have a legitimate business, what sense is it going to make? You're just going to frustrate yourself because you're not going to qualify you. They're not going to allow you to do it. They're going to tell you when you have your actual business, then you could come and do business with them. So if you're looking to, make tools or if you're looking to buy tools or any type of industrial supply, Granger is great for you to start. Now, these companies I'm giving you, these are just some companies that allow you to build business credit fast, meaning that you don't have to go into the bank and just literally try to get that business credit card because banks, I'm not saying when you open a business that a bank cannot give you a business credit card. Yes, you can get a business credit card, but many a times you get a business credit card based off of your own personal credit. They're going to run that. So if you know that your personal credit is not as strong to qualify to get a business credit card or a business line of credit, then the Net 30 accounts is a great place to start. It's a really good place to start. It's good to, basically establish your business credit profile. And again, you're building business credibility fast. You're doing it quickly. What you're doing with these merchants accounts. So I don't care, whatever it is that you need for your business. If you need office supplies, do it through Uline. If you need, if you need office supply, you could do it through Uline for packaging. If you need other office supplies, you go to Quill. And if you need any type of shipping supplies, go back to Uline and Granger's for the tools. Utilize these companies because I don't care what business you're in, every single business requires and needs some type of supplies, preferably office supplies, because you got to run your business, right? Again, please, team, please comment, like, subscribe, smash the like button, push this video through the algorithm. I'm sure there's somebody out there who's trying to start or get business credit and would love to know on how to utilize these accounts or even where these accounts are to utilize them. So again, please, pass this information through. Please comment, like, subscribe, and share. All right, so the next company that I have that helps you to build business credit fast is Staples. Good old-fashioned Staples. Love Staples, going to Staples all the time. Staples, as you know, provides, office furniture. If you need that beautiful desk to put inside your nice office, Staples is good for that. If you also need, stationery, you need pens, papers, etc., whatever it is, a stapler, it doesn't matter. Staples is good for it. And Staples also sells things for technology, like, if you need like your little laptop, your desktop, and so forth, Staples is a good place to get it. And again, I'm not promoting any specific company, but, for me, one of the frustrations that I've had when I've started businesses, literally, knowing where to get the stuff that I needed. A lot of times, people don't tell you they gatekeep, but I'm here to tell you that Staples is great for getting like your office supplies. And again, we are going to get our office supplies from Staples because we are building our net 30 accounts. We're going to use, and these, I also want to point out that these accounts are easy to start. All you really need is just a legitimate business. You go in there, or I'm sure you could apply online, and you just literally show them your articles of formation for your business and your business bank account. Okay, the same stuff that you've been using to establish that business, the same thing you used to open these net 30 accounts, right? But opening a net 30 account should not be difficult. You should not be feeling frustrated. You should not be annoyed. Somebody shouldn't be giving you a hard time about getting a merchant account, because these supplies that you're going to be purchasing with these accounts, they're necessary. It doesn't matter what business that you're in. Everybody needs supplies for their business. Everybody needs office supplies to conduct their business. So if you're looking for, your office furniture, technological stuff, Staples is your go-to, right? And the next one that's, pretty easy, or, quick, or using it as a quick way to build business supply, is your Home Depot. Now, again, this might sound a little cliche, but Home Depot is a construction store. So you see all the people that do construction, all the guys and the gals that do construction go in there and they buy all of their materials. Well, I have news for you. A lot of people that you see in Home Depot buying stuff, they're buying it through their Net 30 accounts. But as I always say, and I always break it down, you have to definitely pay these accounts back in 30 days. That's why they're called Net 30s. And I've repeated it several times. I've said it in this video several times, and I've said it in other videos. You must ensure that you pay these net 30s literally on the 30th day or before. If it's me and I have a net 30 account, I'm literally trying to make my payment a little earlier. If it's me and I come across a little bit of money before the payment is due, I'm going to send it in. So I was doing live on personal credit, and a gentleman that I was on the live with me had a really, really great suggestion, and I think it. So if you have any money and it's easier for you to pay back those net 30s before the 30-day mark, I would advise you to do it. I would advise you to definitely go in and do it. Now, as far as Home Depot, I don't know if you're into construction or you're not into it. If you're into construction, that's fine. Doesn't matter. You're just trying to establish these accounts. You're just trying to pay them off in time because you want to build up some form of credibility. You want to show that you can manage a net 30 account. So when you apply for the bigger accounts, such as the business credit card, and you apply for the lines of credit, you want to ensure that you could, show the banks that you could pay these off. And they definitely appreciate you paying those accounts off. Again, team, if this is the first time you're joining me, my name is Mel. This is Team Credit and Finance, where we talk about all things finance. Today, we're talking about credit. We're talking about building business credit. We're talking about how to build business credit, not just building it, but building it fast. Okay, we're trying to stack as much money as possible so we can have enough money to let our business flow. We can buy our supplies, we can order things, we can perform our services, and not have to worry about where am I going to get funding. I always tell people in my videos, I say, a lot of people understand that, starting a business is a lot of people's dream, but a lot of people worry about money. They worry about where the money is going to come from. They worry if they're going to have funding. They worry if they're going to have enough to buy supplies and materials, for the next fiscal year in their business. We don't want to worry about that anymore. This is why it's so imperative that we should secure funding. So, as I said, Uline, Quill, Granger, Staples, Home Depot, those 5 that I've given you, those are easy ways, or those are quick accounts that you can establish and open to, build some credibility with your business profile, right? And the thing about it is, as long as you have your business and it's legit, you don't need a co-signer or a co-borrower to, to get a business, a net 30 account for your business. You don't need a co-borrower. What you really just need is just the fact that you're a legitimate business and to show, that you've been making your payment over time. Remember, the net 30 accounts report to the Business Credit Bureau, which is exactly what you want. You You want them to talk to Dun and Bradstreet. You want them to talk to Equifax Business. You want to talk to Experian Business. You want them to start developing that credit report card for you, that business credit report card. So when that business credit report card is developed, you can apply to get bigger and better loans. But these net 30 accounts, these accounts are basically a stepping stone to getting the bigger accounts or the bigger credit cards or the lines of credits. This is what these accounts are used for. So if it's me, I would definitely utilize them. And once I utilize the accounts, this is a great way for me to establish business credit fast. Again, if this is the first time you're joining me, my name is Mel. This is Team U Credit and Finance, where we talk about all things finance. In today's video, we are talking about obtaining and getting business credit as fast and as soon as possible so we can get money to be able to buy the things that we need for our businesses and not worry about not having enough money to meet our financial demands in our business. I also want to point out one last thing about these accounts. Just ensure that when you open these accounts and you're having your things shipped. Another thing that that shows credibility in the business, when you're having things that are shipping and coming to your business with those transactions, you want to ensure that that your shipments are coming to your business. They're going to your wherever your business address is. Okay. Again, banks look for consistency. You can't have a Uline account where you're ordering packaging supplies and you're sending it to your home office. Does it, you're sending to your home residence. Okay, if your office is at your home, then that's fine. But you can't be having, your supplies or whatever you're ordering coming to your home address when you've already established a business. You have a business address and a business bank account. It doesn't look professional. It looks, I'd rather say it looks tacky. You don't look serious. You don't look like a real business owner. It looks like you're just setting something up to get it. So as I always say, when banks, qualify you for certain products, they have certain criteria that they go by. I would ensure that my packages are being mailed to my legitimate business address or where my legitimate business is. We don't, the word for today, whether you're opening a bank account, whether you're just doing the merchant accounts, we don't commingle. We don't mix things. All right. Whenever we have our packages shipped out, or we have, supplies that we order with these 5 accounts that I mentioned, we either pick them up ourselves, we go to the Home Depot, that one, and pick it up ourselves, or we have them shipped and sent to our legitimate place of business. You're showing consistency. You're showing that you're picking up materials. You're showing that this is where, you bought your things. You're showing that, okay, I have a legitimate business and this is where I require my shipments to come. Because remember, with net 30 accounts, basically, there's a lot of shipping involved. There's a lot of shipping involved. Because remember, these places supply things, especially like stationery. They supply things. They supply office supplies. They supply tools. They supply things for packaging. They supply things for mailing things out. So again, you're just quickly using these type of accounts to get the things that you need, to establish that you have a legitimate business. And every legitimate business needs supplies for their business. So I wouldn't have my business supplies that I'm using or I'm buying with my net 30 accounts going to my personal home. I would have my business supplies literally coming to my business. Shows credibility, shows consistency, show that you're serious minded and that you're definitely utilizing these accounts. Okay? As I always advise, if this content resonates with you, please like, share, subscribe. Pass the video on to somebody who's trying to establish business credit. Show them or let them know that they can easily get business credit through opening net 30 accounts, or opening these, they also call them vendor accounts. Okay? These are vendors that specifically specialize in helping, businesses, whether it be new or older business, but most likely, or most times, these net 30s are used by new businesses trying to establish business credit. So in actuality, what I want you to take away from today, you don't have to drive yourself crazy trying to establish business credit. Crawl before you walk. Rather than expecting to take out a credit card where you're going to get a $10,000 or a $5,000 limit for a business credit card right away. Start with the net 30 accounts. That way you can build up your credibility. And once you build up your credibility with those accounts, then you can go and apply, you know, for your business credit cards and your line of credit. Sometimes it's good to have a mixture. If you have your net 30 accounts, you can have a mixture. One thing that we need to learn about credit is that, even on the personal credit, it's a mixture of things that make up your credit profile, right? So just like this with these, business accounts, right? Or with these net 30 accounts, it's good to have a mix. If you're just starting to establish credit, you're just trying to do, business credit and so forth. Start with the net 30s, and then later, as things get better, then you jump and you get the the business credit cards. Okay, that's it. That's how you're going to do it. You're going to apply for the line of credit to get funding. That's how you're going to do it. Funding comes in all different ways. You don't literally have to have a credit card to be able to have it. I don't know about you, but if I have a business and, for example, if I need office supplies and Quill is giving me a merchant account, I'm definitely taking it. I don't really need to have Quill's credit card in my hand that, to put me in trouble or to make me buy things that I don't necessarily need to buy. I think these merchant or these net 30 accounts, they're good because you specifically buy what you need to buy while you're building up your credit, with some type of credibility. You get exactly what you need to buy. You're not putting anything extra in it. You're not buying unnecessary materials. Sometimes with like regular credit, when we have extra credit, we tend to buy things that we don't need and we only swipe that card because we had it in our hand. All right. If you was to go into Home Depot and you're just buying, I don't know, maybe some screws, you're only gonna buy what you need, which is good. You don't want to take on any extra additional bill. And when you take that extra additional bill on, you can't afford to pay it. And you're there feeling frustrated. It doesn't make sense. Again, I always tell people that you don't want to frustrate yourself when you're trying to get your business together. It doesn't make any sense. You want to have a peaceful flow in your business with your money. You want to make sure that everything is, you're seeing what revenue is being generated from what's coming in. And you're separating your business credit to make your purchases and to basically, build your business's financial credibility up. That is the importance of having business credit. So again, if this is the first time you're joining me, my name is Mel from, Team U Credit and Finance. If you got this far in my video, I thank you so much. Please comment, like, subscribe, and share. Share the information to somebody that might, whether it's you or someone else that's trying to establish business credit. Please, help this go through, and hopefully they could get some type of information or some type of help from seeing this video. With that said, team, have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so much for your time. See you in the next video. A lot of people struggle with, getting their business funded. They struggle with starting their business, and they also struggle with actually how to get money for their businesses. But before getting to that point, let's talk about how we actually get a business started and how we apply to get business credit. Because when we can get business credit, this is a great way for us to have money to be able to make our businesses flourish. All right, so let's talk about the basic things that we need to do to get business credit. First thing that you have to do is that you have to ensure that you actually have a business. And when I say having a business, I don't mean that you've been working, you've been doing things for people, you've been doing little side hustles and side jobs, you've been making a little bit of money. I'm talking about an actual registered business. Now, in order for us to have an actual registered business, we need to decide if we're going to be an LLC or we're going to be a corporation. And again, after doing your research, that's going to be up to you to decide how you want to set your business entity up, right? So now that you're decided that you're going to officially be a business and you're going to start, making money in the business, you're going to start selling things, you're going to start providing services, we have to get it officially registered. And how do you go about getting your business registered? What you have to do is just go through your state, your chamber of commerce, or your local business entity and have them to register your business for you. You could do it yourself or you could have it done professionally. It's all up to you. Now, once we decide that we're going to open and we're going to start and we're going to establish a business, we need to actually have a place or an address that we are going to have our business registered to. Because again, now you're on a different level, you're on a professional level with your business. This is actually a real business. This is not a fly by night thing. And again, our aim and goal is to be able to get funding or to get business credit, correct? So in order for us to get funding or business credit, we need to actually have a place or an actual address where our business is being conducted. All right. Before we actually jump into how to get, your business address or your business place, let's talk about one thing. Before you would have registered that business, it would have been good if you'd made sure that you had a place or you had an address to register that business officially to. Because your business address is where all your mail or your correspondence is going to come. This is where people are going to write you, get in touch with you. This is where it shows that you actually have an established entity. So, in order for you to have a business address, depending on the type of business you're in, whether you're doing a store, maybe you're doing something virtual, you're doing something online, it could be someplace physical, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, you still need to have a standing business address. So, once you have a standing business address, which you can easily get through something called iPostal, you could do it online, you actually use that address to get your business registered. Now, if it's me, what I would have done before, I would have already formed a business address or have a place where I'm conducting my business. So when I registered my LLC or my corporation, I would have had, my business address that I'll be able to use to set my business up. Team, my name is Mel. This is Team U Credit and Finance. If this is the first time you're joining me, please welcome, share, like, subscribe, comment below. Let me know what you think. Hopefully, this information resonates with you. In any event, now that I've registered my business and I have my business address, I've officially taken off. But now that I have my business registered, the one thing that we must not forget is that we need to ensure that we also have something called a tax ID. Now, the tax ID or the EIN number is very important because the tax ID is basically how we pay our taxes. This is what the IRS uses to identify your business. Okay? Whenever you speak with anybody or you do any correspondence with the IRS, your tax ID number is what they're going to ask for. And it's also how you get paid. This is how corporations or businesses pay their taxes with their tax ID number. In other words, it's like when you file your personal taxes, you use your social security number. Well, your business also has its own personal number. It's almost like a business social security number, if that makes any sense. But in any event, you want to ensure that you have a tax ID number. Now, depending how you register your business, how it's done. If you do it yourself. All you got to do is just go on irs.gov. You could easily register for your tax ID number. If you have somebody do it, if you pay somebody to do it for you professionally or otherwise, they should know to go and register for you to get your tax ID number. It's all up to you. That is your own personal identity, your personal number for your own business. Okay? So now that you've had those things established, you have the actual business that you're doing. It's on pen and paper now. Everybody knows your business is established. You have your business address or your location where your business is established for you to get your correspondences, and you have your tax ID. Now, in setting up the business, we also need to ensure that we also have a business phone number. And again, if you had set your business up with iPostal, you would have been able to use iPostal to, get a business phone number. There are other avenues. As I always say, Google is our best friend. If you want to, you could also Google how to get a business phone number or have a business number. If you already have a number that you established, you want to take something out with your phone company for your business phone number, that's all up to you. But you must have a professional number where people can actually reach you. It's actually a business number. It's not, some number that's just there and it goes into different types of voicemail. Companies or lenders or anyone that you're working with like professionalism. They like to see that this is actually something legit. So now that you have your business phone number and so forth, you also have your business address. You need to ensure that you have a business email. Now, as I mentioned before, when you have a business address, correspondences will be sent to your business address. But in the interim, some people would like for you to have an email that they could contact you through. So you want to set up a business email. If you can set up a professional business email, you could always start with what everybody uses, our standard Gmail, or there are many companies that actually allow you to set up professional emails. And again, it's nice to have a professional email because it looks professional, it looks good, you look legit. I would set up an email that actually has the name of my company or whoever's in charge, whoever the email is going to be coming to. All right. So we set up our business email. So those are some of the few things that we need. Again, if this is the first time you're joining me, my name is Mel. This is Team U Credit and Finance, where we talk about credit. We talk about all things finance. We also talk about topics having to do with housing. Well, basically, we talk about how to get and how to make money. Today, we're focusing on getting business credit, being able to get funding for our business so that our business can thrive, we can make money, and our businesses don't fail. Because as I always say, whether business, personal, or any type, money or credit is always needed to be able to fund things. Once we have money, we don't have to worry about actually working in our business. We just want to make sure that everything is flowing, everything is going well. All right. So now that you have that and so forth, let's talk about setting up something called the business bank account. The business bank account is basically the meat and potatoes of your business. All right? Because the business bank account shows where all your business transactions are being done. It shows where all the money's coming in, all your revenues coming in, and it also shows what you're spending, your expenditures. It shows exactly what's going out. So you need a business bank account. Now, let's take a few minutes and talk about the business bank account because, as I said, this is really the meat and potatoes, where the money comes in and where the money goes out. The business bank account is like the mecca of everything because it shows them exactly what you're doing with your money, with the business's money. So now you might say to yourself, how do I get a business bank account? Same way you get a regular bank account. But the only difference is that with a business bank account, instead of using your social security number to open that business bank account, you're going to be using that tax ID or that EIN that I mentioned before. All right? Because again, this is how they identify your business. This is one of the ways, if not the most important, that they identify your business by seeing what it is. For example, let's say in the future you decide that you wanted to apply for some type of funding or some type of credit. The lender is basically going to ask you, or they're going to go by your, your statements, your bank statements. Well, your bank statements have your tax ID number on it, right? So these are things that you're going to use to open your business bank account. So to open your business bank account, what you basically do is you're going to shop around, just like any other account. When you're looking to start a business or starting anything, and you need a bank account, you shop around, you look around. You don't just take the first one that's out there. So what I would do, again, my best friend Google, I would literally Google and find out what business bank accounts are giving specials, what they have, what do they offer. Because unlike a regular checking account, or business bank, your business checking account, there's different things. There's a certain amount of transactions that you have to have done each month. Some of them only allow you to keep a certain amount in the bank account. Again, you have to literally shop around and look and see what these accounts offer to you. All right. What is in it for you? I always tell people, I say, you have to let people compete for your businesses. Banks are ecstatic about opening business bank accounts. But again, you're going to separate it from your personal bank account. So once I get my business bank account, I use my tax ID number and so forth. I go in, I open it. I'm going to bring my, my articles of formation that I used to officially form my business. Banks, again, they're big on asking you what your business address is because, again, we're talking about professionalism here. And this is a process that I've gone through a few times, okay? They're always looking to know exactly what your email is, what your business address is, or where your business is located because they do verify. They like to know that you're actually a legitimate business. Again, this is no joke. And you're actually getting, your tax item, you've gotten that from the IRS. So you take all those things. And even before you go for the appointment, you could ask the banker, wherever you decide that you're going to open the account with, just say, okay, I'm going to be opening a business account with you. What is it exactly that I need to verify or to authorize you to open the business bank account for me? They'll give you a list. They'll tell you. You get that list together. And once you get that list together, you're going to take it to the bank and you're going to open your business bank account. Other question that somebody might ask is, do I have to go in person? No, you don't have to go in person. You could also do it online. But many a times, for business bank accounts, they like to have signatures. They like to see, verify that it's you. They want to see that your business is officially formed. They want to see that seal that you're going to get from your state once you form your business and so forth. Again, it's very legitimate. It's very professional. They just want to ensure that you are a real business. So once you form your business bank account is basically showing all your transactions. And why it's so important to have that business bank account separated from your regular checking account, because you don't want to have an account that's mixed up with your other transactions. Okay. Sometimes there's incentives for having your business account. People get deals, people get rewards, businesses get deals, they get rewards for having their account separate, for having business bank accounts. So we don't mix them up. And again, we want to keep it separate because remember, when you initially register that business and you became an LLC or corporation, you basically separated that from your own personal. Because remember, your business is not you, your business is an entity. Okay. That is an LLC or corporation that you have formed. So in other words, you need to keep them separate. All right. So now that you have that business bank account now, and everything is going in, everything is coming out, you have actual transactions. Okay. You're actually making deposits. Now, this is a great segue, or this is a good way for you to start hoping to apply or trying to apply to get business credit or business funding because you have a record, you have transactions. They see that you're a legit business. You've been up and running for a few months. I think a good 6 months is good. You're up and running for a few months. Your business is actually, bringing in revenue. You're sending things out, you're ordering things, you have other merchant accounts, all those things. You actually have it on paper that your business is up and running legitimately, and you're showing how the money's coming in and going out of your business bank account. So, very important, a separate business bank account. All right, let's move a little bit away from the business bank account now. Now we're up and running, right? We have our business bank account, we've established our business, everything is going well so far. But what about, getting your business out there so people know about you? Because remember, the hope and the goal is to eventually start getting business credit or business funding, right? Because funding is what allows us to thrive. Funding is, what we use to buy supplies for our business. Business credit is what we use. This is how we have our business credit cards, okay? You need to ensure that your business is listed. So you might say, Mel, how will my business be listed? Your business will be listed when you register your business with your Chamber of Commerce or your state. Okay? Everything is listed with our great friend Google. And of course, you can always go the other measures. If you go online, you can Google places that you could list your business. But if it's already listed by Google and it's already out there and so forth, you're already getting press. You don't really need to do anything extra. You just want to ensure that when you apply for any business credit or any funding, that they're able to look you up legitimately. They're able to find you because nowadays everything is electronic. Everything goes through, everything is technological these days. Nobody's literally passing paper back and forth. Everybody's just looking everything up. So just be sure that you're able to look up online. Now, I also want to talk about a place that you're going to use, okay, to ensure that you're being looked up or you're well known or you're established. This place is called Dun and Bradstreet, also known as the Dun and Bradstreet number, okay? Dun and Bradstreet is a place that gives you a unique number. I think they give you like a 9-digit number. And with Dun and Bradstreet, it's basically your business's identifier, okay? A lot of times when you apply for business credit and you apply for business funding, they are going to say, okay, what is your DUNS number? Okay. What is your DUNS number? Or I'm sure they could just easily Google it or find out what it is. They have ways of checking, right? Once you have your DUNS number shows that you are an official business. Okay. It's your own unique number that shows that your company is legit, that it's formed, that it's there. And the most important thing about your DUNS number is your DUNS number actually reports. Again, you know how I always tell you that the regular credit bureaus, the Experian, the TransUnion, the Equifax, how they give you your credit report card with your personal credit? Well, Dun and Bradstreet gives you something called your Paydex score. Your Paydex score is your business credit score. So, why is your business credit score important? Your business credit score is important because it shows the lender it's your credit report card in business. It shows the lender how you've been spending your money. It shows the lender how you've been spending the business's money. It shows the lender how you manage the money that's coming in and out of your business, therefore giving you that credit score. So now, once you've established that Dun and Bradstreet number, just bear in mind that other than it just reporting to Dun and Bradstreet, business credit or your business report card also goes to Equifax and Experian. TransUnion doesn't have a business report card. TransUnion is more of a personal credit bureau. And I would also sit and take some time and learn about the different bureaus that actually, report business. Because now you're in the game. Now that you've established a business, you're in the game of funding your business. You're also in the game of getting business credit. All right. And business credit is not just literally having business credit cards to pay for supplies or to use it for personal things like business travel or just, anything that you do in your business. Okay. Getting business credit and also getting funding is another great way to get money for your business. You want to kind of have a mix, however you can do it. Sometimes people get merchant accounts where you could buy certain things, you could purchase. It doesn't have to be like literal cash for the business, but there's different ways and different offers that they give when it comes to getting business credit and funding. All right. So those are just some of the ways or some of the things that you can use to get, your business credit. You have to get your business going. You got to form it. Okay. We're not doing any word of mouth anymore saying, oh, so and so does let's say you do hair. So and so does hair, and he or she has a legitimate business. Even if you got business card, as long as you have that business registered, it's a different thing. You have to register your business. Once you register that business with your state, decide how you want to farm your business. That's up to you. Do some research. What's going to be better for you in the long run? How is it going to work for you tax wise? All right. You're going to get that tax ID number, right? You're going to get your business address. You're going to get your phone number. Okay. You're going to get your business email, all of those things, or some type of way that they could correspond with you, electronically in this day and age that we live in. All right. Ensure that, like I said, you have your business phone number that they could reach you. All right. Biggest thing that I talked about, and if not the most important after forming your business, please get your business bank account. Once you get your business bank account, you see how that money's coming in, going out, and you're creating a record of your transactions of how your business manages money, right? And last but not least, please ensure that you get your business properly listed. Other than Google listing it, when you get your DUNS number or any type of listing service, that will put your business out there. That makes you look legitimate, that makes you look official. So those are just some of the ways, team, that you can start, your journey onto getting business credit. When you have a business, getting money or having money to spend in your business should not be frustrating. It shouldn't be hard. It shouldn't be difficult. All you should be doing is getting up each day and looking forward to going running your business. Money should not be a worry for people in business. But as I always say, in prior videos, a lot of people are not really taught or learn how to get, the money or the funding that they need, whether in their personal, life or whether in their professional, their business life, they don't know. So if you don't know, you don't know, right? Again, if this is the first time you're joining me, my name is Mel. This is Team U Credit and Finance, where we talk about all things credit. We talk about topics with finance. We talk about housing. We talk about anything that has to do with leveling up and getting our money to work right for us. Right? This is what we're about on this channel. So again, if this resonates with you, please share, comment, like. I also want to hear from you. Tell me where you are in your journey to getting funded or to getting business credit. Have you established your business yet? Have you applied for business credit, or are you trying to get funding and you're not getting funding? You're not having any luck. Okay, let me know. And maybe I can come up with some suggestions or some ways, or I could, personally coach you and show you how to start your journey to get, getting funded or getting business credit, for your business. The goal here is that we want to make as much money as we can. And while we're making our money, we don't need to be worrying about small little trivial things such as not being funded or not having enough business credit. Business credit is wonderful. Business credit gives you freedom to run your business. And while you're running your business, it also allows you not to be worrying about where you're going to be getting money from to actually run the business the right way. So the best thing to do is once you set your business up and you actually have a registered business, get yourself some funding. All right, team. Thank you so much. I hope this resonates with you. Please comment, like, subscribe, and share. And I will see you in the next video. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. So I want to talk about a few myths about business credit because a lot of people seem to be confused about some of the things that are true about getting business credit and some of the things that are not so true about getting business credit. So let's emphasize on specifically three myths that I think we should talk about when it comes to obtaining business credit or how to go about getting business credit. All right. The first myth that I want us to talk about is when they say that when you're applying for business credit, that it's good to get 0% interest, right, on offers. That is a myth. 0% does not always mean that it's good. You know how they say all that glitter is not gold? That's exactly what it is. When you get 0% interest to start, let's say, you take a line of credit out or you get a business credit card and the interest rate is 0% interest. Initially, those offers or that 0% interest is only for a period of time. It's good to start if you're just, opening credit or you're just getting funding or you're opening a line of credit because you're not going to build any interest. But over time, those 0% offers, they're going to get bigger. Okay, it's going to be more of a bigger interest in the end. You're going to end up paying a lot more money. So in other words, you started small, right? You started small. You literally started at 0 where you didn't have any interest on it, on the loan or on the credit card. But later, as time went by, the interest suddenly creeps upon you. So you have to kind of be careful at those type of offers. Now, if you're just starting out and you just want to get your feet wet, you just want to get some type of funding or some type of credit for your business, whether it's a line of credit, whether it's a business credit card, or just a loan itself for your business, and they're saying that it's 0%, you think that's going to work for you, then you're more than welcome to try. But, as a business owner, you have to kind of see what options are best for you. If this is the first time you're joining me, my name is Mel. This is Team Credit and Finance, where we talk about all things money. For today's, video, we are talking about business credit. We're talking about the myth of business credit and how they can lead into, different beliefs. But we want to stick to 3 myths today, okay? Again, if this is the first time you're joining me, hopefully you like the content. Stick around. Now, the second myth that I think a lot of people misconstrue when they're trying to get business credit or they have business credit is that you don't need to have a personal guarantee, aka PG. So let's define, first of all, what personal guarantee is. Personal guarantee is when you tell, the lender, whether it be it's a credit card, it's a line of credit, it's a loan, whatever it is, you tell the lender, or you say it's a legal binding agreement that you sign, tell the lender that if anything should happen, that you are going to be responsible for the loan, you're going to be responsible for the debt, right? Because as I always say, whether in personal credit or business credit or any type of financing and funding, things happen. Businesses go out of business. If it's personal credit, people lose jobs, money becomes an issue. So at times, people can't pay what they need to pay. Okay, same thing happens in a business. So before any lender lends you anything or gives you anything, they want to guarantee personally that you're going to be responsible for that debt. In other words, it's a promise. It's a promise to pay or a promise to be responsible should there be a default in the debt. So, we try our best not to default, but things happen, life happens, okay? So that's another myth when they say that you don't have to have, PG, you don't have to personally guarantee. And why it's such a big myth? Because it's actually a legal binding agreement when it's PG. Now, before moving on to the third myth, let's talk about how this PG works and the factor that it plays in with your personal credit. So people might say, with business credit, you don't need to have good credit, right? Or it doesn't matter about your good credit. It does matter. It does matter if your credit is decent, because remember, initially when you apply for business credit or a business loan or a line of credit or a credit card, a lender has to find a way to qualify you. Now, if you're a new business and you really don't have a lot of revenue coming in, you don't really have a lot of transactions going in and out your business bank account, they're going to have to run your EIN number, right? They're going to have to run your tax ID. They're going to have to see that you're a legitimate established business. So in order for them to do that, right, they need to be sure that they're going to be guaranteed whatever loans or whatever money they make to you. So your PG your PG is based basically off, how your personal credit is. Okay. Your personal credit has to be somewhat up to par, not even somewhat, your personal credit has to be decent for business credit to be offered to you. And this is where, based on how good your personal credit is, they'll say, okay, we're going to qualify you for this, but you have to promise that if anything happens, or, God forbid there's a default, or you got a business, you're still responsible to pay us. And some lenders will even go as far as taking out, I think it's called a UCC lien, where they'll put something against you should you default on the loan. So PG, it is a myth that PG doesn't matter, or that you don't need PG as a new business. It's a total myth, okay? You have to have personal guarantee to be able to take those loans, lines of credits, or those credit cards out. They want to ensure that they're going to be getting their money. All right. So the next myth that people generally talk about when it comes to business credit is that you don't need any personal credit. I just briefly touched on it. You do need personal credit. Personal credit is To me, personal credit and business credit are like, it's like a brother and a sister, believe it or not. I don't know which way you want to terms it. I don't know if you want to make the personal credit the brother and the business credit the sister or vice versa. It doesn't really matter. But personal credit is essential in establishing business credit. If this is the first time you're joining me, my name is Mel. This is Team Youth Credit and Finance, where we talk about all things money. Right now, we're focusing on the myth of business credit. Okay, we love to talk about money. We love to talk about getting money, and business credit is a way that we can get money to fund our business. Right. So to say, that myth to say that, that you don't need to have good personal credit or personal credit doesn't matter when it comes to business credit. That is a total myth. It does matter. Your credit score is basically your credit report card. I'm talking about your personal credit score is your personal. It's your credit report card. When lenders qualify you or look to qualify you for business credit, they're going to run your regular social security number. So your social security number is going to your personal credit. They're going to look and they're going to see how you've been managing your money, what you have been doing with your money, how you spend your money. All right. Now let's separate both. So now we have our personal credit on the side where they're checking your credit profile to see how you're doing. Okay. Now we're going to jump over to the business credit. Right. Just like the personal credit, the business credit also has a report card. And those three credit scores, or I'm sorry, those three credit bureaus are Dun and Bradstreet, they're Equifax, and Experian Business. Those are the three credit bureaus that gives you your personal credit report card. But before you can even jump the ledge and get that business report card or the business credit score, in order for you to qualify for any type of business credit, your personal credit had to be decent for you to get it. So yes, it is a fact that you do need personal credit, or you do need to have good personal credit to be able to qualify for business loans or business funding or business credit. Now, there are exceptions to it, all right? When I say there's exceptions, you have, merchant accounts where if you don't have good personal credit, or when I say you don't have good personal credit, like if you're not up in the high 700s, you have like your credit is at least 6 something, it's okay. You have okay credit. That's not going to deter you from getting any type of business funding, but the difference is that you kind of have to have something else to go with that. So for example, like let's say your personal credit is somewhere in the 600s and you're finding it hard to get the regular credit. This is when you're going to do those net 30 accounts. But again, that's a different topic in itself entirety. I'm just bringing it in because I'm letting you know that, for somebody to say that, oh, personal credit doesn't matter, it does matter. So right now, if your personal credit isn't that great, where you can just apply for funding or apply for, a business credit card, then a good idea that people usually start with is to get those net 30 accounts or those merchant 30 accounts. And so what those merchant 30 accounts do, they basically help build up your business credit profile. Because you remember, you needed that boost for the business credit profile because your personal credit wasn't good, or your personal credit wasn't good enough or high enough to just qualify to get, business funding or, business products, etc. So you needed to, get those net 30 or those merchant 30 accounts. And so you might be saying to yourself, okay, what are the net 30 or the merchant 30 accounts? Those are accounts where, like, a lot of businesses use them, if they want to get like stationery, they want to get supplies like paper towel, tissues, office supplies, stuff like that for their businesses, stationery, pens, pencils, computers, etc., whatever you use in the office. Those are the merchant 30 accounts. And the good thing with those is that they're not really difficult to get. I mean, as long as you can show that you have a legitimate business, they give you basically a line of credit. They don't give you money itself. They give you a line of credit where you just use your merchant 30 account to, let's say you wanted to purchase, I don't know, paper towel for your company, you wanted to purchase pens, you could get a certain amount. The wonderful thing about the net 30 accounts is that the line of credit is there. It's basically supplied by, you can get it by Uline, you can get it by Granger. And again, in another video, I'm going to go into specific details about the different types of, merchant 30 or net 30 accounts that they have. So once you have those accounts and you start building, you literally put your order in each month, you order your supplies. Great, they send them to you, you're building business credit, you're showing credibility with that, right? But here's the thing with those accounts. In order for you to use those accounts to build, right, or to solidify your business credit profile, you need to basically make sure you pay those accounts on time. Now, just like with personal credit, right? Lenders frown when you're late with their payments. And again, nobody likes to be paid late. I don't like to be paid late. I'm sure you don't like to be paid late. So it's the same thing when you're trying to work with these business credit vendors or lenders. They don't like when their money comes in late. I think it's a point to say that, listen, if I can, give you some type of credit, the most or the courtesy that you can do for me is to pay me on time. So what it is, remember, when you pay those things late, it affects you, even if it's 1 day late. Now, sometimes with personal credit, we might have a little bit of grace, but in business credit, because remember, this is a business, this is money coming in, money going out. These merchants want to be sure that they're going to be paid. So if you're having a hard time getting the business credit, your best bet would be to start with those merchant accounts, right? Because remember, how we got here is because our personal credit wasn't good in the first place, right? When, companies are, people are trying to establish business credit, it's a very, I want to say it's a daunting process. It's also a rewarding process. And in trying to get business credit, we often come across a lot of different myths. But, for today's video, I literally broke down 3 myths. I broke down the myth of telling you that, that when they say that PG isn't needed, that's not true. Okay? You do need to guarantee that loan. You do need to let that lender know that you or your business is responsible should anything go wrong. Okay? When they say that, that 0% loans or 0% business credit cards are the best, that's also a myth. And when I think of 0% credit cards in business, it's I think of like an adjustable rate mortgage. Yes, it'll start you off with that adjustable rate mortgage, and you might have a really low interest rate on that mortgage. But in the end, once things fluctuate, you're going to get a higher interest rate. Well, it's the same thing with a business credit card. Once you get 0%, I'm sure literally after a few months, the interest rate is going to change. So you're going to think about that. So that myth it's totally false. There's no such thing. All right. 0% interest is good to start, but it will make a difference later depending on the fluctuations. All right. And to say that you don't need, personal credit to get business credit, that is definitely not true. Your personal credit has to be good. And I would tell anybody that if you have personal credit and, if you have your personal credit and it's not up to par, you can take steps to clean up your credit, right? Right now, if you're cleaning up your personal credit, you could always, get your trade lines. I always mention the famous Kickoff. Not really sure if Kickoff has any, any lines for business. Didn't really research, didn't really find out about it. But in a case where you need to clean up your credit and get a trade line on there, I would definitely start with Kickoff. The quicker you can get that done is the quicker you can get your credit cleared up so you can start applying for those business lines of credit. Business credit is wonderful. I always emphasize that when you can get business credit or you have business credit, you're not really worrying about, not having money in your business to spend. You're not worrying about, meeting, God forbid, payroll. You're not worried about, meeting, your suppliers' deadlines. You're not worried about like running out of money for anything to cover any costs because you have that credit. And so I always tell people, I always say, listen, whether business or it's personal, you don't just apply and ask for money when you need money. Now, on a personal level, whenever you need money, you apply for money, it never comes in. This is why, same thing in a business, you have to apply to get your funding or to get your business credit cards. So when an unexpected expense comes in, you're going to have the funds or the credit to cover it. You're not going to be there scrounging and wondering, what am I going to do? And this is why a lot of business owners get so frustrated, because at the end of the day, it all boils down to the money. It all boils down to the numbers, what's coming in versus what's going out. Okay, what revenue is the company generating? What are you getting for what you're putting out as a business owner? The numbers have to make sense. And whether you're working with attaining business credit or personal credit, everything goes back to that famous score. Everything, if it's personal credit, goes back to that credit score, that credit report card. If it's business credit, in order for you to get funding, this goes to your business credit score. If you're going through Dun and Bradstreet, it goes to your Paydex score. You're going through Experian or Equifax Business, they give you a score. And we know that our business credit score goes from 0 to 100. So if you're pushing to that 80 mark, as close to 100 as possible, it's going to be easier for you to get that funding. All right. With that said, again, this is Mel. My name is Mel from TMU Credit and Finance. We talk about funding. We talk about business funding, business credit, getting lines of credits, getting loans, getting business credit cards to make it a lot easier for us to be successful in our business. At the end of the day, we need to cover costs. We need to cover things. We don't need to be worrying about how we're going to make money or how we're going to get money to spend in our business. Now, I want to hear from you. Where is your journey with your business credit funding? Have you started a business? Have you registered your business? Do you have your LLC? Do you have your corporation? Have you applied? Are you using Net 30 accounts for merchant accounts and so forth? Have you been able to get a business credit card? Have you got more than one business credit card? Where are you in your funding journey? And how has it been for you? Has it been difficult? Because again, they'll tell you all these things. And this is where the myths come in. They'll tell you, do this, do that. But at the end of the day, if you don't have certain things set in place, a lot of these myths, these 3 myths that I mentioned today, they will actually become reality, right? Because, you didn't get the proper funding. You didn't know how to get the proper funding for your business. So with that said, I just really, really hope that, everyone that's looking for funding, that they could thoroughly do their research, see what's out there, what people have to offer or what companies have to offer. See, you have to remember, with any type of funding, whether you're trying to get, credit on your personal credit profile, or you're trying to get funding for your business credit, you have to do some research. You have to want to put the work in to see what the products are out there. They have great products, but do you know how to utilize the products? Do you know how to get the meat and potatoes? Do you know how to research? Do you know exactly what to do? Do you know how to decipher when you're hearing something true or something logical, something that makes sense, right? You have to be able to decipher what makes sense. Again, if somebody's telling me that if I take a credit card and I always have 0% interest and, it's going to be forever, automatically I know that that's not going to make sense. So you have to remember, if you're in the business of making money, so are banks, right? Doesn't matter if they're supplying business or personal, but in this, we're relating to business today. They're in the business of making money. So automatically, you know that they're going to charge some money, right? It's basic. In other words, there has to be something in it for them. There has to be some incentive for them. So with that said, team, again, thank you for joining me. I hope that I was able to clear up some of these myths about business, these 3 myths that I, really zoned in on. You have to be wise and you have to listen up when you're trying to get that credit. It's out there, but just ensure that you go about getting it the right way. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. If you've also tried to get funding through your bank and you see that the bank isn't working in getting funding, you can also, self-fund your business account. All right. You could also make deposits in your business account. You can make your deposits, you can make your withdrawals. Those are just some of the ways that you could actually fund the business account yourself. Funding the business account yourself, that's a great way to get started. In other words, you are securing all the deposits in the business bank account. Business bank accounts are integral to have because it lets whoever's going to qualify you or lend you the money see that you've been having these transactions that are done in your business bank account. So again, if you can't fund it with a bank or you're not able to get any money, then fund it with what you already have. And that should help you to achieve some type of business credit. The goal here is to try to show that your account is active and there's nothing dormant about it. That is one of the greatest ways to fund your business bank account. So now that you've officially formed a business, your biggest question is, how do I get funding for the business? And traditionally, We've heard that to get funding for the business, that it's good for us to have business credit. It's good for us to have business loans, and it's also good for us to have lines of credit. But realistically, before that can take place, we need to find out how to exactly fund our business checking account or our business account. Because the goal of funding our business account is to be able to show that we have a legitimate, viable business and that transactions are occurring within the business. In other words, if you're selling something, you want to show that you're really selling things and you're really making profits and there's money going in and out of your business checking account. So let's just take it back a little bit. But before we take it back to initially establishing a business, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Mel. This is Team Credit and Finance. And on this channel, we talk about all things finance. For today's video, we are focusing on how to fund our business checking account. In other words, how to fund our business to show that we're actually having transactions and we're actually, making revenue and there's money coming in the business, that the business is actually progressing. So, this is your first time, get a pen and paper, sit, take some notes, and learn a few things exactly how we're going to fund our business without having a lot of money or without not even really generating a lot of income. Let's take it back. So now that you have a business, you formed your business, you are an official entity, you've opened an LLC or your corporation, you have everything registered, everything has been done. You've also gotten your DUNS number, you have, your business address, your business email, whatever it is, you're legitimate, you're set up. And I'm mentioning these things because before you could even start to think about funding the business, you have to ensure that your business is properly set up. You have to ensure that, if anyone looks you up or even a lender tries to qualify you for a loan, that they can, find your business. So we've set all those things up and business is up and running. We have a few customers, we have a few clients, but we're still having a hard time qualifying for funding. We're still having a hard time getting business credit. We're having a hard time getting that first, line of credit. All those things. Now, the reason why we might be having a hard time is because when we initially applied for either the business credit card or the business line of credit, and the lender asked us or asked you to verify with your bank statements and your EIN, the lender was not able to see that you're actually doing transactions in the business. They're not able to see that you're actually having money come in, you're selling products or you're selling services. Now, we also have to understand that the lender doesn't go by word of mouth. So as a result, the lender has to verify that you legitimately qualify for the product in which you're applying. So now it doesn't really matter what you're applying for. It doesn't matter if it's a business credit card. It doesn't matter if it's a line of credit where you can draw on it. And when we say draw, we take some money off. We do a withdrawal, aka draw. And then once we take the draw off, we pay it back, right? And so the money that you took off and, put back, in other words, you have that money to use again. So, it would behoove you to pay your draw after using it. And that's how you keep your line of credit going. So it doesn't matter, as I said, if you're applying for a business credit card, we're trying to get a line of credit, or even if we're trying to get a business loan. The bottom line is that when you submitted your documents, or if the lender asks you to give your documents showing your business's progression, your documents, specifically your bank statements, were not strong enough to get the funding or the business credit that you required. And as I have mentioned in previous videos, whenever you apply for funding, whether it's personal, but for the sake of this video, we're talking about business. And most times when you're rejected for credit of any form, the great thing is that the lender always tells you why. And some of the reasons why, people or businesses get rejected or an entity gets rejected specifically for funding is maybe you had too much inquiries. Maybe you're not established long enough. Or maybe when they looked at, your bank statement and they saw exactly what was transacting back and forth, maybe the money that was transacting wasn't high enough. So I know that we go in a sense of borrowing money, and you might say to yourself, well, I'm a start a business or I haven't been established that long. You know, how can the lender expect for me to have money in the account? And I just barely got started. Well, I don't think it's a case of expecting to have a really high amount, because if you had a really high amount, you would not be applying for business credit. But there is a reason why the lender wants to see exactly what you're doing. So now follow me. Let me explain to you exactly what I mean. When the lender runs that EIN number, whether they check your DUNS number, which is, the DUNS number gives you the PAYDEX score. Whether they check your PAYDEX score, doesn't matter if they go through Experian or Equifax Business, it doesn't matter. They're looking for your score. And as I've mentioned in previous videos, the score ranges in business credit from 0 to 100. And with the PAYDEX score, if you're at least 80, with the other ones, anything, you're up to at least 80, nearing towards 100, you have a decent score. Again, your business credit score has to be decent for you to qualify for any type of lending product. But more so, in order for you to get that payday score going, in order for you to get it going, you had to have been transacting in your business bank account. You don't just open the bank account and just leave it there, and every once in a while you have something paid. And I'm not advising you to commingle or mix business and personal. That's not what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is that you need to ensure that when you have that business checking account, right, and you are trying to show a lender that you are legitimately working with the account, you have to be able to show transactions. You have to be able to show, deposits coming in, right? You have to be able to show things that you're buying or supplies or goods that you're buying. I know they talk a lot about longevity of the account, but even if you have the account for 5 years and every month, when you look at that bank statement, when they look at that business bank statement and they don't really see any money coming in or out or anything going in and out, it's as if the account is dormant. It's as if the account is not really working on your behalf, or it's not working on the business's behalf. So it's like it doesn't really make you a strong candidate for a loan or for a line of credit, or just a business credit card. You understand what I'm saying? It has to be actively moving and actively generating revenue and actually transacting in and out. That's how they see that you're really using it. Because think about it. One thing that we have to remember is when you go in and you apply for any type of funding, credit card, business credit card, line of credit, or loan, one question that the lender is going to ask you is, if we give you this line of credit or this, what is it that you're going to be using it for? How does this loan or this credit card, this business credit card, this line of credit that we're going to give you, how are you using it in your business? And that is also something that you have to think about whenever you apply for any type of business fund. Applying, having a decent business credit score, having, a decent personal credit score so you can PG when you borrow anything, that is one factor. But a lot of components make up getting funding. All right. So now that the lender, you've applied to lender and said, okay, let's see how your business bank account is transacting. Let's see exactly what you're doing with that account. How is it working? Now, in looking at your business bank account, looking at your statements, you are the lender. When you really analyze and dissect it, they can't really tell or can't really see what money's coming in, what withdrawals, what deposits, what automated clearinghouse transactions. There's nothing going in. So you now, as the business owner or the owner of that business checking account, right? You're the one that's going to have to basically do those transactions to show that your business account is alive and well and it's actually working. You're actually using it. Because a lender is not going to really just give you money if they don't believe that you're going to be using the money in the business, right? Another thing that they might ask you to show them your business plan. That's a biggie. The business plan tells you, and I would tell every and anyone that's actually running or opening a business, please have a business plan. Now, I'm not telling you to sit there and write a 10-page story or a 10-page thesis or a 10-page plan. But if you, the business owner, doesn't understand what your plan of business is, or how you plan to run your business, or how you plan to spend your business money, if you don't know and you don't understand, then the lender's not going to understand. So when you write that plan or you go in to get that funding, because most of them are going to ask you for your business plan, just something on paper, exactly how you're going to use the money. They're going to say, okay, what percentage are you going to use to make payroll? What percentage are you going to use to, buy supplies? What percentage is going to cover, utilities? What percentage is going to cover other expenses? You have to know, because nobody, no business, whether it's even personal, is going to lend you their money if you don't have a good way that you are going to use that money. This is the reason why they make people PG, or personal guarantee, or they make the business personal guarantee, that if anything should happen, that they're going to pay that money back, or they're going to be responsible for paying that debt back. So it has to make sense, because again, as I always say, lenders are in the business of making money, right? So a lender wants to ensure that you are going to have a way to pay that money back, right? So let's segue back into, the bank account and transacting in the bank account, right? If this is the first time you're joining me, my name is Mel. This is Team U Credit and Finance, where we talk about all things finance. We talk about leveling up. And for the sake of today's video, we're talking about leveling up our business bank account and how to actually transact in our business account to help us qualify for funding. That's what we're focusing on today. So let's just jump back into the business bank account. Now, when you initially open that business bank account, hopefully you did your homework. And as I advised in previous videos, you ensure that the account that you opened, that it's an account that's going to work for your business. In other words, does this account offer rewards? Does it give any cashback deals? Does it give any travel rewards? Does it, give you any other incentives depending what your business is? In everything that you do, you have to ensure that what you're putting out or what you're investing in, that there's a return and a reward for you. So just make sure that whatever or whichever business bank account you open, that you are going to be getting something back. So you've done your research, you have a bank account that you're using for your business, and it's strictly that. Think about a way that you could actually, get the money to come in and out of the account. So what you might want to do is you want to try to basically fund that account yourself. How do you fund it for yourself before? Because remember, initially, you can't get funding, right? You're a new business, or if you're not a new business, you're relatively new. You're new in a sense that you haven't made any money. So you need to actually show how you are having money come in and out of the account. All right? What money are you actually depositing in the account, or in the business account rather? Right? What money are you withdrawing? How often are you making deposits into the account? So now, whenever you have a bank account, and for the sake of this video, we're talking about a business bank account, and you have your statement. When you look at your business statement, and I don't care how you do it, I don't care if you want to print them out, you want to look online, however you do it, but you need to look exactly at what came in and what went out. Now, lenders have criterias. And when I say criteria, they're going to tell you that in order for your business to flow, or in order for your business to seem like it's flowing, you need to be generating a certain or specific amount of money in the business each month, right? So when they analyze your bank statement and they look, and let's say, you're applying funding, you're applying for $10,000. They're going to basically do the math, and they're going to say, okay, in order for us to qualify you for 10,000, whether it's a line of credit, it's on a business credit card, or it's a $10,000 business loan, when we look at your bank statement, we have to ensure that you're having a specific amount of revenue coming into that bank account, or you're making a specific amount of deposits. So with that said, what you can do is you can ensure that you make deposits in your account. Some people opt to do it different ways. Let's say, if you had opened a business savings account, and I also always urge people to have a business savings account. It's not just checking. Specifically people that are into the real estate game, or any game for that matter, saving is saving. If you have a business checking account or another account that is linked, you can literally make deposits into that account or you could just take your own money, whatever, and you could make deposits in that account. So at this point, what you're doing is you're transacting in the account, however you want to do it. If you want to, if you, let's say you wanted to buy something for the business, and, when you went into business, you had some money set aside. All you're really doing is just transferring some money, or you can physically go in a branch, depending where your bank is. I don't know if it's online or it's in person, and you could transfer funds, or you could literally make deposits. Okay. Remember, when you transfer money into that bank account, you don't have to let it sit there forever, because you're just doing transactions. If you took the money from your savings account, from your business savings account, or some of the money that you had set aside for your business, and you put it in and you withdraw the money the next day, you go back, you make another deposit. In other words, you constantly transact in between your account. You don't just put one time and leave it, because again, what is the point of you making all those transactions or trying to make those deposits or withdrawals? Because you're trying to show that you have a credible business that's actually doing transactions and is actually, having things, being taken out or paid for in the account. And I'm not talking about that you're specifically making a lot of money, but we always say, money allows you to make money. You got to have some type of money to make money. So once you have those deposits or those withdrawals, you can show that those transactions. It's like you become a better candidate for the funding that you desired. You don't have to sit and worry and say, okay, I don't have any record or any proof, because, I always say in any game, documentation beats communication. Those transactions or those withdrawal and deposits that you're doing in the business bank account, that shows that's being recorded, and that shows the lender, whoever that you apply credit for, that you're actually interacting. You're actually being interactive with the account. It's not just sitting there dormant. You didn't just open the account and just, have it sitting there and not doing any transactions in it. You have to do some type of transaction. Okay. You got to be making some type of deposits, right? I didn't say if you specifically make your deposit, you have to leave your deposits in there sitting for days. Who knows where you got the money from? Who knows what you're doing with the money? But wherever you get your money from, if you had your business savings account and you put something aside, maybe you had made some revenue or you made some money in the account and you put away some that you saved, you can deposit your money in and out, right? You just need to be able to show on paper that you're having transaction, okay? That you're using the account. Lenders don't like to see that. Okay, great. Let's say even you have an account and you happen to have, a sum of money. Let's say you have 20,000 in that account, and if that 20,000 is just sitting there and you're not showing, or you're not able to show that lender that 20,000 is making or generating any income, lender's probably gonna think, okay, yeah, they have a little money in their account, but how are they using it? You use the money, whatever deposit or withdrawal you do, you use those to run your business. And if you're not running your business, or you're not adequately generating anything in the business, then you're not going to be a candidate for the loan. So those are just some of the reasons, or some of the ways that people actually, when they have a business, they make transactions in the account. They do their withdrawals, they do their deposits. Okay. For example, let's say, you had $1,000 in your business savings account, and you had wanted to buy something. Well, whatever, you could easily deposit that $1,000 into your business checking account, because remember, the checking account is one where everything is going in and out, right? If you deposit that money, and let's say you change your mind, you decide that you don't want to make the purchase, you withdraw the money, you put it back in your savings account. All right. You can make your deposits and your withdrawals as much as you like when you're buying things for your business, but you have to show that you're actively making withdrawals, you're actually making deposits. You have to do your plus and minuses. Okay. You have to show the lender, or for the sake of applying for things, you have to show that you're actually using the account. That's how a lot of people generate, transactions in their business account. Once you've done that, you show that, okay, each month I'm withdrawing it in my account, I'm depositing in my account. Once you've done those things, it's going to make it much easier for the lender to qualify you. Okay. It's going to make it much easier for you, to get funding, because the goal of this is to be able to get funding. But I know sometimes it could be difficult to get funding if you don't have any money, right? You don't have any money in the account. You can't show that any money is coming in the account. But in anything, you have to have a little bit of money to start, because I don't think anybody was going to go into business if they didn't have a little money to put towards business, right? But in opening your business, you needed a little bit more money to fund the account. So a lot of people, like I said, if they have a little savings or they come across some money, however they find it, they use it and they make their transactions. They deposit, they withdraw, they deposit, they withdraw, they make a purchase. They do something to show that they actually have a credible account, that they actually have something good going. That's how people, get their funding for their business accounts. All right. So once you've been making those transactions, you can show that you've been depositing, you can show that you've been withdrawing, you can show that it's something consistent. And the key here is consistency. And a lot of people are going to say, well, I don't really have the money to deposit. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much you're depositing in there, as long as you're depositing something and some form of money, some type of transaction is occurring in the account. That's exactly what it is. If you have an account where nothing is occurring or you're not showing any transactions, it's going to be very difficult for the banks to see if you're a candidate for any type of funding. That's how funding works. Money makes money. Before people lend you their money or before businesses lend you their money, they want to see that you know how to utilize the money. So again, those bank statements, you had your business plan, you know what you're going to use the money for, you know what you started. Those bank statements are like liquid gold when it comes to applying for funding, because a bank statement tells every single thing about your business, literally. Other than, having your business registered and, making money in your business and being listed, on the internet, or being listed, having your profile. Okay, that's great. Everybody knows you exist. But does your bank, does your bank show that wherever you have your checking account, your business checking account, does your bank show that you're making money, you're generating revenue, right? That is the point of making those transactions, right? So again, people, as I said, our goal here is to show that we're actually making this business work for us. Our ultimate goal in the end is to be able to get funding, because when we have funding, we can basically, buy the things that we need to make our business thrive. The worst thing that can happen to anyone is opening a business, and because, a lack of funding or a lack of money, we can't really get to grow our business. Everything has to do with money. And so once we're able to show that the business is actually making money, that's a really, really great way. But the way that you're going to show the business is making money, you have to show those transactions. You have to show those deposits. Okay? You have to show those, those withdrawals. And when I say withdrawals, how are you spending the money? Let's say, for example, you deposited $1,000 in your business checking account. No worries. You can use that money to buy something, or if you're not ready to buy something else, you could probably take that money out and put it back in your savings wherever you had it. You just have to make sure that you're depositing and withdrawing consistently. Okay? That's how you build up the funding for the business bank account. Funding is not always easy, and I always tell people, I say, listen, if I have a business, I am not going to be in the game of expecting, my family and my friends to help me fund my business. It's not going to happen. Nobody's going to do it. All you're going to do is just get frustrated because people refuse to cooperate with you. People refuse to help you to fund the business. So you don't want to bank on actually waiting for someone or a place to give you the money when you could easily fund it and show that you're funding it yourself. That's exactly how people fund their businesses. They use their own, or many times when people have businesses, if your business did generate a little bit of money, you can see a tax professional and, see about borrowing a loan, in your business. Doesn't matter how you do it. If you're a type of person where you have your business and, you pay yourself out your business, again, you're going to contact your professional tax person, your professional accountant, to figure exactly how to make those payments to yourself out of your business. That's exactly how we do that. So with that said, I just hope that, anyone that's struggling with knowing how to fund their business, you can fund your business. You can fund your business by doing your own transactions. You could do your own transaction of actually depositing or drawing your money. You do it different times. If you deposit $1,000, maybe you got to withdraw back 300. You redeposit. You just want to show that you're having things coming in and out. Okay? In and out. And because when you have things coming in and out, you're actively using the account. That is the goal. If you're not actively using the account, how are they going to know what you qualify for? How are the lenders going to know exactly what you're doing in the account? You saying that you have a business and you just need funding for your business. Okay, well, what is it you need funding for? What is it you're buying with the money? If I'm a lender, I'm looking at your business bank statement and I don't see no money coming in. I don't see no deposits coming in. Okay, and you have to know how you want to make your deposits. If it's me, whatever money I'd set aside, I don't care if I had to get me a second job to have some type of money to deposit in my account. I'd ensure that I have my money deposited. And if it's not deposited, I'd ensure that I have access to withdraw my money when I want to. That's exactly how we do it. You gotta make some transaction in that business bank account. Once you've done that and you realize, you see how it is with depositing and withdrawing and doing some type of transactions, maybe when you apply a couple months from now, you could always go back to that lender and so forth. Remember, a rejection initially for business credit, whether it's the credit card, the line of credit or the loan itself, is not a permanent rejection. A lender is not going to tell you that, oh, if you applied, maybe a week ago, you can't apply in like another 30 or 90 days or 6 months. But again, this is you being diligent in, your research. This is you doing your due diligence and seeing exactly what products or where you want to get your credit from. All right. You want to see exactly what the lender is going to offer. Many times it's something small. I know there are some places that offer initial lines of credits and you don't even really even need to have any money there, as long as when they, like they said, they check your personal credit and they make you PG and they start you off. I know sometimes we don't want to start off with 500. We don't want to start off with $1,000 or even $5,000. But as long as you get something to start, because who knows, maybe if you get a $500 line of credit, you can initially draw from that line of credit and then take that line of credit and fund your personal, and fund your business bank account. That's another way to do it. Once you fund it, once you fund that line of credit, once you fund that business bank account with that line of credit, you take it, you withdraw it again, you pay it off, and you utilize it. You could also use a line of credit to buy the supplies that you need, but you have to understand that you have to be able to have some type of funding that you could initially, withdraw from, right? Whatever funding you set aside, and deposit that into your business bank account. So that is just the way, or some of the ways that you can fund your business bank account, right? It's like you're doing a secure type of funding. And it's a secure type of funding because it's your money that you're depositing into the business bank account. Okay? It's your money that you probably had in your business savings that you wanted to use to transfer into that business checking account. You got to show some transactions. You don't show any transactions, it's going to make it very difficult for the lender to qualify you for that. I also want to touch on another thing before we actually exit this video. Let's go back a little bit on the business plan. So I know that, we always have in our minds how or what or which way we want to run our businesses. But so many people fail to actually sit down and write a business plan. And you might say, okay, Mel, you're talking about funding, like literally withdrawing and depositing and showing that I'm funding my account. But you can fund the account all you want. As I mentioned previously in the video, if you don't have a plan as to how you're going to fund that account or how you're going to use the funds, it's going to make it very difficult for them to qualify you for any type of products. You see, when you go into these institutions or when I say going, whenever you apply, you want to ensure that you have everything set up and lined up. If you're applying for a specific lender's product, right? Let's say you're applying for a line of credit. And even if that lender didn't initially ask you to do a business plan, always have your business plan on hand. Have your business plan on hand. You have your business plan on hand because your business plan is for you. Your business plan is for you to read and see exactly how you're going to, go about growing your business. It's a plan of how you're going to make your business thrive. It's a plan of how you're going to make your business work. If you don't have that, if you don't have a plan on how you're going to spend that money, you're going to do the funding, how you're going to let the business grow, again, that's going to bring some type of frustration. These things take literally 5 or 10 minutes out of your time to make a business plan. Making a business plan is basically the meat and potatoes of getting yourself ready to get funding. All right? In other words, it's like you're making a little portfolio of the things that you plan to do to get your business credit portfolio going, right? We don't have to always wait until we're rejected for us to get funding. And I know it can be a little bit frustrating sometimes because it's like, okay, I have my plan, I have this, I have that, but I'm not able to get the funding. We are still going to plan exactly how to get it. So that's just, a little word of wisdom today in terms of getting business credit. All right, we can get funding. Okay, we can fund our own accounts and so forth by, showing our transactions of additions and subtractions. That's a great way for us to start. That's a great way for us to, get our money going. And in addition to that, with our funding, we also want to ensure that we have our business plan that we're going to take into the lender when we're trying to get funding for our businesses. Okay. Team, if this is the first time you're joining me, again, my name is Mel. Welcome to Team Credit and Finance, where we're talking about all things finance. We're specifically talking about getting business credit and getting credit. We're getting, whether it be a credit card, it's a line of credit, or even a loan. It doesn't matter. We're talking about some ways to get some funding for our businesses. This is exactly how we want to take it. This is exactly what we want to do. All right. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Many times when we establish businesses, we're not really sure of the type of accounts that we need to run our businesses successfully. So I'm going to be giving you a few accounts that you should have. It's typically a good idea to have when running a business, resulting in you having a business that's actually flowing and having good cash flow. Okay, my name is Mel. This is Team Credit and Finance. If this is the first time you're joining me, welcome. We talk about all things finance, and we'll talk about leveling up our money. So the first account that I think every legitimate business needs to have is a business checking account. Now, I always talk about, not mixing funds. I always talk about having a separate account for that entity. Because when you're doing your business transactions, you want to ensure that, whatever's coming in is separated from your personal account. So, for example, setting up a business checking account will allow you to spend in the business, do transactions in business, and basically keep a record of how you are paying your bills with the business checking account, with your business account. So it is believed that every business should have a separate checking account, preferably a business checking account. You should not be using your personal account, your personal checking account, to pay your business bills or your business finances. All right. Now, another account that, every business owner or business should have is, a secured business credit card. Now, let's talk about a secured business credit card. Many times when we start businesses, it's kind of hard for us to get business credit right away. So in order for us to establish business credit, we could also start off with something called the secured credit card, the secured business credit card. And the secured business credit card is like any other secured card in your personal credit. The only difference is that with the secured card, they're using what you put up, whatever money you put down, they're using it as collateral just in case you default on the business credit card. But getting a business credit card, preferably a secured one, is a great way to start to build business credit. And it is advisable that everyone that starts a new business should have some type of credit card. If it's a point where because you're a new business that you can't get a regular business credit card, then you could opt for a secured card. And now with the secured card, what it is, you'd put some money up. They would open up a line for you, and you could draw or use that money whenever you need it. But remember, you're the one that funds it, with your own collateral, your own cash. And it's also good to have because you're essentially building business credit with your own money. So in the long run, you can eventually apply for business credit without having to put up any collateral or putting up any money. All right, the next account that a lot, businesses try to have is a business savings account. Now, business savings accounts are especially wonderful if someone is in the game of real estate or the business of real estate. And what I mean by that is that if you have a business savings account and you've been taking aside or setting aside a certain amount of money for savings when you're trying to qualify for that investor's mortgage or trying to, buy something with in real estate, they'll see that you've been saving towards a goal. They'll see the consistency of you putting that money away. So this is why it's essential to have a business, a savings account. Business savings account goes wonderfully in saving money towards a business. And it shows responsibility, and it also shows consistency in putting something away. So that's the business savings account. Now, I know I just briefly mentioned about getting a business, you know, credit card, and I said we should use a secured card. Now, let's say that you've had your business established for a while and you still wanted to get other cards. This is the time after using the secured card that the other account that you try to get is just a regular business credit card. And a regular business credit card goes well because this is where you don't have to put up any collateral. All you have to do is just apply with your EIN number, showing, transactions, showing how your business is being ran, all of that to ensure that you're able to secure that business credit card. The greatest thing is that you don't have to put up any collateral. And once you're able to get one, you know, business credit card, non-secured, you get a regular one. It's going to be much easier for you to qualify for credit, business credit rather, and other funding products. So that is an account that that every business needs to have. They need to have a regular business credit card, and the business credit card would allow you for you to buy the supplies and the things that you need. Another thing that you need when you have a business is you need to essentially have a business line of credit. So let's talk about a business line of credit. So a business line of credit is basically where, just like with any line of credit, you have it and you could use it and you could take a draw from it. In other words, you could withdraw money from it. Once you withdraw, you pay that money back with whatever time they give you. You're able to put that money back into your line of credit. And that's how lines of credit work. So you're basically drawing off the money that you have within that line to use, to make your purchases or to spend. Greatest thing is that when you pay it back, it'll go right back to your line of credit. Now, some lines of credit, they might start with a specific amount, but as you're using the line of credit and you're paying it back consistently, you're able to basically grow your line of credit. So, for example, let's say you started off with $1,000, and I'm just throwing a number out there. You started off with $1,000 line of credit. You used it, you paid it back quickly. You didn't accrue any late charges or any lates were on it. Now the lender sees that that you've been responsibly using this line of credit. They're going to increase your limit from 1,000. Before you know it, you might have a 10,000 line of credit, or depending on what you initially qualified for. Because as I said before, in previous videos, that lenders like to know, especially when you're starting out new to get business credit, that you have something called a PG, personal guarantee. And all the personal guarantee does is just tell the lender that should there be a default or should there be any problems, that you are guaranteed, the borrower for the business credit or the business funding, you are guaranteed to basically pay their loan back. In other words, they're not going to lose if you personally guarantee. It's going to fall on you. So those are just some of the things that you need or you should have when you have your own business, okay, in terms of finance and funding. So with the business line of credit, in addition to that, the business line of credit can be used to pay for anything that's in your business. All right. If you need to buy supplies, if you need to make payroll, whatever it is. And so I'm also going to throw another one out there. I know I mentioned that you should have the business checking account. I mentioned you could start with a secured business credit card if you haven't been able to establish business credit, or you cannot get a business credit card initially. I mentioned that you should have the business savings account, which shows consistency in saving. And I mentioned the business credit card itself. This one is basically unsecured. And now the next one is the business line of credit. Now, let's quickly jump into another line that people should definitely have when they have a business. And this should be able to line up, being able to get funded, like getting a loan if you need it. Okay? Sometimes costs and things arise in a business and you are not able to come up with the costs, or maybe, you're not meeting as much on that business. If you're able to secure a loan or, any type of any type of lending product towards your business, you're able to do a lot more. So a business loan is also a great way for you to, get supplies or get funding for your company. And funding can be so many things. A lot of people use funding for payroll, other than just for supplies. They use funding for payroll. You just want to ensure that you have that funding and you're able to get it. And all of these things, fall hand in hand with you establishing credibility with the lender. Okay? How do you establish credibility? From the moment you open that business and you decide that you're going to have a business bank account and you didn't commingle your funds and you separated all your funds, this basically shows the lender that you are serious, that you are definitely serious about, showing transactions. You're serious about growing the business, and it shows that you're responsible. You're being a responsible business owner. I can't stress enough that business owners should not commingle their funds. Business owners should not be mixing personal credit with business credit. In other words, if you have a personal checking account, and as tempting as it might be, it is not a good idea for you to be making purchases or buying things from your personal checking account for your business. Separate the two. When you separate the two, this way, later when you eventually file your taxes or you make any claims for as a business, you have a long-standing track record showing your transactions, showing exactly what you are doing in the business. That is exactly how we need to separate our funds. We don't need to commingle anything. And I stress this so much. And people might say, listen, Mel, I didn't have a business checking account. It takes but maybe 20 minutes, if that much, at the bank, maybe half an hour to open a business checking account. All you have to do is just research and find out exactly where you can open it. Great Starter, our greatest, America's biggest bank, Bank of America, has their business checking account. Wells Fargo. I can almost guarantee that all and every institution allow you to have a business checking account. But just like with any product, you have to do your research. You have to do your research and see if this product works, if it's going to be one that you can definitely, work with in your business. A lot of these business checking accounts or these accounts, they have different stipulations. You have to ensure that you can keep up with whatever they're offering. They're going to tell you that you can only do a certain amount of transactions a month, depending on the size of your business and how much people you have working for you or working with you and so forth. You have to pick the one that you think are going to give you the most transactions, the optimal number of transactions. That's how it goes with having business credit. Again, my name is Mel. This is Team You Finance. If this is the first time you're joining me on this channel, we talk about leveling up. We talk about all things finance. We talk about credit, regular credit, business credit. We talk about housing. We talk about saving. We motivate. We talk about, getting a step further in life. So again, this is a channel that's right now in this video, we're focusing on building business credit, and we're focusing on different accounts that we need and should have if we want to show a lender, a potential lender in the future, that we're serious and that we really want funding. All right, because with everything, I always say there needs to be a track record. It needs to show exactly what your business is doing, what transactions your business is making, how far is your business going each month, how much money is coming in and out, how much revenue are you generating. Once you can explain those things, or you can show those things, you have like a good track record in terms of your business, it makes it much easier for you to get the funding that you need. So, it's not, getting funding is not something that happens overnight. And if we can establish those accounts, like the business bank account, we can show that we have a little savings, for our business. We can show that we have, a credit card for our business, whether it be secured or unsecured. Or we could also show that we're able to obtain, a line of credit. When we want to get bigger things, such as getting a loan for our business, maybe to do an expansion, we already have consistency. The key word here for today is consistency. We want to ensure that everything is consistently being documented and it's showing exactly what is happening in that business. A lot of people don't realize that with business, everything, as they say, documentation beats communication. When you go apply for a certain loan product, especially in your business, first thing the lender is going to ask, the lender is going to say, okay, let me have your business bank statement. They want to see on your business bank statement that you've been making transactions in the business. Okay. Now, someone might say, listen, hey, I use my personal checking sometimes. We definitely don't want to do that. We just want to have an account where we're separated and we're not commingling it, and we're able to, separate our purchases. That's exactly what we need to do. Now, again, if you're unsure or stuck about where to open some of these accounts, I always mention our best friend, Google. Google, whatever you put in, even in the day of AI, whatever you put into the search engine, it'll definitely tell you exactly where you can get specific things to, ensure that you're applying for the accounts that your business needs. All right. I also touched on getting the Uline accounts and getting the Granger accounts, the Net 30 accounts. And again, these are accounts along with having your business checking account, having your business credit card, whether secured or unsecured, your business savings account. There is nothing wrong with, getting another line of credit or getting some type of account that could allow you to grow and expand your business. The goal here when we have a business is that we want to ensure that we have enough funding or we have enough money to let the business thrive, to let the business grow. If you are not able to secure funding initially, you can also contact, organizations such as the SBA that can help you with getting a business loan. And again, there's different types of business loans that you could get. But for the sake of this video, we're just going to stick to some of the accounts that we need or should try to set up, to show consistency that we are a legitimate and a serious business. Once you can establish those things, it makes it much easier for your lenders to qualify you to get business credit. It's easier for them to qualify you to get a business credit card. Okay? Getting a business credit card is not the same thing as going out there and getting a regular credit card. And while we are applying to get these type of accounts, such as, specifically the business credit card or the funding or even just the business credit, we have to be vigilant and we have to look and realize, if and when things are legitimate. A lot of people are trying to get business credit, and so sometimes a lot of people fall victim to people that, want to take advantage of them trying to get the business credit. I always tell people, as long as you do your research, as long as you check out what the product is like, what they're offering to you, because a lot of people are fraudulent. And I will give you a quick story time. Dabbling in the line of credit and even business credit. I met a lady I was speaking with, and she said, I tried really hard to get business credit, but every time when I tried to get business credit, the people that I was speaking to, they were telling me that I needed to put up money. In other words, she said I needed to put up collateral to get business credit. And I said to her, honestly, with everything in life, you have to spend some type of money. But if somebody's legitimately showing you how to get business credit or what to get for business credit, you don't need to be putting any money up. Okay? Just like, for example, if you go and you apply for your business checking account, you don't need to literally pay the bank anything. All you're doing is maybe they'll say, okay, you know what? To legitimize and open the account, maybe you need to put $100 in the account, maybe to put $50 in the account, just to show, that you're serious. And again, as much as we rely on our banks, a bank is also a business. It's a financial business. Banks are in the business of making money just the way you are in the business of making money. So, it's the same thing, right? These accounts that we have just shows that we are definitely just trying to, generate income, and we're trying to get our businesses to thrive. We can definitely get our businesses to thrive once we secure these accounts that we have. The one that I find to be the most pivotal in being able to secure business credit is when you have that business bank account. Because when you have that business bank account basically allows you to add up and show your transactions. Okay? It shows every single thing that's been coming in this business, every single thing that's been going out. You are basically keeping a record. That is one of the biggest secrets to getting business credit. Getting business credit is not determined by, paying someone or paying these fraudulent places. You can get business credit by simply opening your business bank account, showing your transaction history, and also showing consistency in your business. Whenever lenders want to give you money, whether it's for business credit, whether it's for a line of credit or just a business loan itself, they want to ensure that you have that consistency. And this information that I'm giving and I'm saying, it might sound so cliche, it might sound so repetitive and redundant, but if this is so cliche and redundant, why are so many people struggling to get the business credit that they need? Because people just don't know. I would tell anybody that's starting a new business, please ensure that you set your business up properly. You set your business up with your proper business address. You set your business up with your phone number. You set your business up with your business bank account. And as I suggested, you can also get a business savings account. Whenever the business starts to make money, what you do is just transfer over a little money or set up to have the money transferred over. And again, you can also get a secured line. You can get a secured credit. You can get like a secured line where whatever you put up as collateral, use it back. You show consistency. See, the secured line of credit or the secured business credit card, it's very much related to the net 30 accounts. The net 30 accounts, they give you exactly 30 days to pay those accounts once you use them. And again, the products that you take on the net 30 accounts, it's a good way to secure that you're going to make payment. And whenever you make your payment, all of those things are reported to the three major bureaus, specifically and starting with the Dun and Bradstreet. All those things are sent. So once you understand how to channel business credit, once you understand that everything is a process and it's a step, you just need one good business credit card in reality. You need one because the one business credit card that you get, that is going to be a gateway into getting other business credit cards and other forms of funding. So again, if you can't get that natural business card, what you should do is just get a secured business credit card. Get something in your business's name, even if you have to fund it. I tell everybody, when you start a business, please ensure that you have some type of money put away that you can use to work in the business. It's like, I'm not saying you can't start a business without having a lot of money, but in order for you to make money, you got to spend money. That's how business works. That's how life works. All right. So with that said, if you are opening, your business or you have a business, try to get these accounts that I mentioned. The only thing that it'll make things flow a little bit. As I said, I'm going to list them again, and I have the list here. Try to get your business checking account. If you can, try to get you a business credit card, whether secured or unsecured. If you can't get secured, and start, if you can't get unsecured, start with a secured card. Try to get your little business savings account. Try to get your business line of credit. And when I mention line of credit, they don't have to be big lines of credit. I'm not talking about a 10,000 or 20 or even 100,000. If you could even get a line of credit for $500, it's something to start because it's some other money that you have to spend within the business to take care of small things or things that arise on the whim that you don't even really share of. All you really need to do is just ensure that you have some type of money there, some type of funding to buy the things that you need to buy for the business. With that said, people, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video. I want to hear from you. Other than, setting up your business checking account, do you happen to have a business credit card? Okay, and if you have a business credit card, is your business credit card secured or unsecured? Okay, were you able to get a line of, a line of credit? Are you able to get any type of funding? In other words, what is that you've been able to secure or what is it you've been able to get together, since the time that you open your business? What have you done and what have you worked on? Okay? With that said, I thank you so much and I'll see you in the next video. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. My name is Mel. This is Team Credit and Finance. If this content resonates with you or you find it helpful, please, like, comment, subscribe, and share. Help get the content out for those people that are looking and trying to decide how to get funding for their businesses. Funding is the ultimate goal to allowing our business to thrive. Once we have money in our business, there's a lot of things that we can do, which we're not able to do without funding. A lack of funding is not a good way to fund the business or to run your business. So again, please like, comment, subscribe, and share, and help us get the content out. Hello, team. Hope everybody's doing well today. For today's video, we're going to be talking about some cards that you could use to get business credit. In other words, to get business credit financing. This is the first time you're joining me. My name is Mel. Welcome to Team Credit and Finance. So for today's video, we're focusing on actually getting business credit cards, okay, where we can get some funding another way. So I have a list here of some business credit cards. Some of them charge an annual fee, and some of them are literally zero. You don't have to pay anything to get the card. But just bear in mind that even though some of them are zero, you might have to, have different requirements. So I'm going to basically go in detail about these cards and what the benefits are of having these business credit cards. So I literally put a list together of 5 business credit cards. All right. So before diving into the first card, I want to talk about PG again. And for those of you that haven't watch the other videos and learn what it is. PG is personally guaranteeing. And what a PG does is that once you get a business credit card, whether it's a business credit card or it's a business loan, and if for any reason you default or there's any issue with the business close, the bank or the lender needs to, make you guarantee that you are still going to pay that debt back and you're still responsible for the debt. That's what PG means. So just bear in mind that when you apply for any of these cards, you might have to sign something that you will basically PG or personal guarantee for the cards. Another thing that I want you to look at when if you apply for any of these cards, you need to look at like what rewards these cards give. Now, when you apply for credit cards, whether it be business or personal credit cards, a lot of them tend to have a lot of rewards that you can get with them. Some offer cashback rewards, some offer travel rewards, or some offer, other deals. But there's a multitude of rewards that are offered with a lot of these cards. Just like it is in personal, it's the same way in business. So let's dive right into it and let's analyze the cards that I thought, were decent to apply for that you can start off to get business credit. So I know I mentioned that I have 5 cards. The cards that I have, these are unsecured cards, okay? The first one that I want to touch on is the American Express business card. Now there's different variations of the card, but for the sake of the name of it, the name of it is American Express. So this card has an $895 annual fee. And this is current as of today in the month of October 2025. So if you're seeing this a year or 2 or a month later, I'm talking about currently now what you can apply for with this American Express business card. So with this business card, you basically go on Amex, you could apply for this one. Now there's different versions of the business card depending what are suitable for your business needs and what you need to buy. So this one is coming in at an $895 annual fee. And again, different bank, different requirements, they are going to charge for getting that card. So depending what your business needs are, if this is the first business credit card you're applying for, maybe you want to apply for a card that doesn't have an annual fee. But I've always heard the rumor that with Amex or American Express, whether it be their business card, their line of credit, that the amounts that they give you, they're really, really high. So you have to kind of weigh, is it worth me paying the $895 or whatever the annual fees on different credit cards to get that Amex card if I could get approved for it? All right, so that's the first one. The second one that you could possibly apply for is a Chase Ink. It's a Chase Ink Business Preferred Card. Now that one, the annual fee for that one is coming in at $95. Now with the $95, again, depending on your business needs, would it be suitable for you to use that card? You're going to have to sit down and, and tally up and decide whether or not it's worth paying the $95, depending on what you're going to be using that business credit card for. Okay. And most of these business credit cards, they allow you to draw. You could also get cash over the cards depending, if you need to meet payroll or whatever you need to do. So again, look at how much you could possibly get approved for based on your business needs and see if you're willing to pay that fee for, the card, which is $95. All right. So now let's look at some cards that are zero to apply for. They could come in card form or they could also be like a line of credit. But for the sake of today's video, we're talking about an actual business credit card, having a physical card. Now, again, if this is the first time you're joining me, my name is Mel. This is Team Credit and Finance, where we're talking about obtaining business credit, preferably a business credit card, so we can have a card to, make purchases and allow the cash to flow better in our businesses. So looking at the zero credit cards, the first one that I have is Brex Business. Now, Brex has been around for a while. Brex offers a line of credit. Brex also has a literal credit card where you, the business owner, will get the card, and they give you a certain amount to spend. Now, for the sake of this card, there's no annual fee. They have a zero annual fee. Again, when you apply for the card, you're going to read the fine prints, and you're going to see if this card, is going to be suitable for you to use. Sometimes the cards might not offer any annual fee, but, maybe later down the line, depending what you signed up for, it changes. So again, you're going to read your fine print. But if you're a new business owner and you just want to get your feet wet and you just want to get a card, you could apply for the Brex business card. And I know that with Brex, they look at how your business is doing. They look at your business bank account. So this is one, if you've been having your transactions in your business bank account, showing, your revenue, showing what's coming in, what's going out, Brex might be an option for you. at zero annual fee, $0 annual fee. Now, this one, the next one that I could tell you about is called the Bank of America Business Advantage Card. So I know personally with Bank of America, they do offer a zero annual fee. So you don't pay any annual fee for this business card. And again, just like with the Amex card, there are different variations of the card. But for the most part, this is the Bank of America business card. And when you apply for the card, you would see exactly, again, what you need, how much would be put into this card, like how much you get for funding. All right, because at the end of the day, we need to ensure that we're getting enough for funding, need to ensure that we're getting enough money on our card. Right. Just bear in mind that many times when you apply for business credit cards, it's not really the amount that you want or the amount that you think your business needs. Many times they give you an amount that they think is suitable to start as a new business owner, okay, or as an ongoing business owner. So you want to take that into consideration. But personally, if it's me and I'm just starting to obtain business credit and I'm trying to get business credit, I don't mind starting with a card that's zero annual fee as long as I basically get my feet wet and I get some type of credit for my business. All right. The next one that we're looking at is the PNC Cash Rewards Visa. Okay, this is the business credit card for PNC. Now, I also know that PNC offers a line of products. And with PNC, this one is at zero annual fee also. Now, again, you're going to check, you're going to shop around, you're going to compare them, and you're going to see if the zero card is for you. I mentioned before that the Amex is at $8.95 and the Chase Ink is at $95. Now, again, all that glitters not gold. Doesn't mean that because a card is zero annual fee, that might be the best option for you. So again, when you compare them and you line them up and you see what they're giving back, that's when you're going to basically decide if you want to, if you want to invest in getting this card. For me, I just want to get started and I just want to ensure that my card, is suitable, that I can use it to, fund expenses in my business. Now, so far, I've mentioned five. I gave you Amex, Express. I gave you Chase Inc. Business Preferred. I gave you the zero ones. I gave you Brex Business. I gave you the Bank of America Business Advantage. I also gave you the PNC Cash Rewards Visa. Now, I also want to talk about, another way to get a business credit card to start. Now, if let's say you applied for the zero ones to start, I would start with the zero ones. Again, I'm a new business owner or, I'm a struggling business owner. I don't have a lot of money, so I don't want to pay any fees. If I started with the zero ones and I couldn't get the zero ones, maybe who knows, I could apply for the ones that charge. And if I was not able to get those either, what I would do is I would basically do a secured business credit card. Secured business credit cards are a great way to start. It's a great way to, get funding for your business. Now, the only thing, just like with the Amex and the Chase, Inc. Preferred Business, you basically have to come up with some money to fund it. Now, depending who the lender is and what the requirements are that you're going to research, they might tell you to start with 1,000. They might say start with 5,000. They might say start with 500. You don't really care what it is. If you can afford it and you can do it, then you're going to try to open a secured business credit card. Now, let's compare the secured business credit card to the personal secured card, your own personal credit. See, the same rules apply when it comes to business credit for cards. It doesn't really matter. The only difference is that with personal credit and business credit is that when you apply for business credit, you do the PG, you do the personal guarantee. So if it's in a case where you cannot get the business credit card, whether the ones with zero fee or the ones that charge, then your best option or choice would be for you to get the secured card. Okay, the secured business credit card, and then you fund the secured business credit card yourself. Funding the secured business credit card for yourself is a great way to start, and it's another channel of opening to get a business credit card. Only thing is you got to come up with the money yourself. You don't care if they want you to fund 500. You don't care if they want you to fund $1,000, because when you fund that secured credit card yourself, that secured credit business card, this is a great opportunity for you to show a lender that you can keep up with the card. You did make your payments on time. It's a good way for you to show them that I'm a good candidate for an unsecured business credit card. So that is what a lot of business owners do when they're trying to build credit. At this point, the whole point of getting this credit card, whether secured or unsecured, is to build credit. Because there's going to come a time in your business where you're going to easily be able to get business credit without having to come out your pocket, without having to, to secure a card, right? You just really need to have at least one card, and the one card that you have, you show consistency, therefore developing your credibility. Once you show consistency, develop your credibility, showing that, okay, you know what? When this lender gave me this business credit card, I was able to basically fund, I was able either to fund it or I was able to keep up with it. I was able to, make my payments every month. When you do that, you show them that you're able to manage that business credit card. So it's not going to be no big deal for a lender to give you an actual business credit card once you apply for it. All right. Those are just some of the ways. If you're having a hard time getting a business credit card, whether it be you're paying zero interest annual fee or you're paying the 8.95 or the 95, whatever it is. Because again, different credit cards have different annual fees. If your annual fee is zero, good for you. If your annual fee is 95 or 8.95, you're going to decide if that's the one that's going to, work best for you to apply for. The whole goal of this is just to get your feet wet and to get one business credit card, whether secured or unsecured. And once you make those payments consistently, in other words, you're showing them your credibility. So it's all about credibility and that you know how to manage funds in your business. So I'm going to tell you, don't get discouraged if you cannot get an initial business credit card. There's ways around it. There's different avenues to build business credit. The point of you getting a business credit card is to be able to build business credit. We must build business credit because business credit allows us to have money in our accounts that we pay for our supplies. We don't have to worry about if we're going to have enough money to buy certain things that we need for our business. As I always emphasize, we don't need to be stressed out or not if we have money in the business. And a lot of business owners don't know that there is business credit out there. A lot of business owners tend to want to fund the businesses themselves. You don't need to do that. Any reputable company always has a way to fund their business because we take it on the premise that, when the business makes money, I'm going to be able to, fund whatever credit. I'm going to be able to pay back any credit that I initially borrowed to fund my business, right? And I also mentioned that even after getting the business credit card, if you're having a hard time securing that type of funding, you could always opt to get a line of credit. You could also opt in to getting a business loan. But the first thing is you want to be able to have that credit card in your hand. So when you have that business credit card, you can make your purchases. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you started your funding journey yet? Have you tried to get a business credit card? Do you have a business credit card? And if yes, how were you able to get that business credit card? If you've been a business owner for a long time, were you able to, start with a secured credit card, secured business credit card, and then graduated and then got an unsecured one? How did you do it? In other words, how were you able to get your business credit card? And what are some tips that you would give any business owner that's struggling trying to get a business credit card? Because we know that a business credit card is not easy to get. It's not. A lot of people tell you, get business credit. Start with this, start with that. But like all credit, they're going to run your profile. They're going to check those three bureaus that I mentioned, such as they're going to check your Dun & Bradstreet, they're going to check your Equifax business, and they're going to check your Experian business. And again, it's primary that you have an establishment with your business credit reports. It's primary that you know what's on your business credit reports. For example, if you have your Dun & Bradstreet and you've had it for a while, a lender can easily check your Dun & Bradstreet and see that you've had this number consistently for a while and that you've been making your payments on time, right? So I know it's kind of cliche to say, okay, you have to have your business credit reports and you have to have good credit in your business. But like with any credit, if you don't have good credit in your business, then it's going to be very difficult for you to get those business credit cards, okay? Again, if this is the first time you're joining me, my name is Mel. This is Team Credit and Finance. And for today's video, we are talking about obtaining business credit cards, how to get them, and the steps. Everything is a step. If you want to get the business credit card, you have to basically, find a way how to get that funding. So, with that said, people, as I said, let me know, what your journey is towards getting your business credit. Have you been able to get business credit? And if you have, let us know how you've been able to get business credit. How are you doing it? Did you have a specific lender that you use? Now, I gave you literally 5 lenders here, or 5 banks, or 5 places that gives business credit. All right. No, too much information is never enough. Right. These are just the 5 or the main ones that I know a lot of people use when they want to try to get business credit. Right. If you've been, running your net 30 accounts, you've been doing them as a new business owner, you built up some type of credibility, you've had your business bank statement showing how you've been working in your business, then it shouldn't really be that difficult for you to get business credit. And I also want to add that when you apply for these business credit cards, if the first time you apply for these business credit cards and you don't get the business credit cards right away, please don't get discouraged. Just like with personal credit, you have to apply and reapply again. And many times when you apply for credit, for the sake of this video, we're talking about business credit. Maybe what you initially applied for, you didn't meet the requirements. Okay, maybe the lender was not able to verify that you've had an account specifically for a long time. The lender wasn't able to verify that you've been paying your bills consistently. Lender wasn't able to verify that you've had a specific account and you made your payments on time. Whatever it is, many times when you apply, they still give you a little report or a little piece of paper, and they show you and tell you exactly what you're missing or what you needed to qualify for business credit. Okay, I know that many times when people apply for business credit, the banks or the lenders want to see that you're having a specific amount of revenue coming in. In other words, if you're going there and you're applying for a $10,000 or $20,000 business credit card, if your business is not generating a certain amount of revenue each month, is not coming in, they're not going to qualify you for what you're not making. You understand what I'm saying? Because it kind of makes sense. No bank is going to give you more than they think you could spend, because it's going to put you in trouble. So you want to be able to, as I said, if you get rejected, see specifically exactly what was missing or what made you not qualify for that card. And then what you do is you work on it. They tell you most times, if not all the time, they say, okay, you're a good candidate, your business credit score is good, but you need to show more revenue. You need to show, more transactions. All right. Those are the things that these lenders tell you specifically to qualify you. And I know they'll give you a certain amount of time when you can reapply for that credit. All right. So don't get discouraged. Just, apply. As I said, Google a few of them, speak to other business owners and see what type of business credit cards they have or where they're getting their funding from. Hopefully the person's not a gatekeeper and they could show you and tell you exactly where you can get, the funding or get the business credit cards from. Business credit cards are a wonderful, wonderful way to grow your business. It takes the stress of you having to worry about buying your supplies. I also want to mention that when you get business credit cards, please ensure that they offer certain rewards. If you have a business where you do a lot of traveling, you want to apply for a business credit card that gives traveling rewards. Or you want to apply for a business credit card where if your business is not a one-man show or there's other people in your business, you want to apply for a credit card that basically gives, multiple cards. So, they could have it to make purchases or to run the business. Again, weigh your options. Don't just settle for the first card that you get. Don't just take the first card that you're offered because you just want to say or you just want to have a business credit card. Level it out. Again, I know you're the one looking for credit, but let them compete for your business, especially if your business is flowing and your business is doing well, right? If you have a business that's having a lot of money coming, a lot of revenue, sales are good, everything is doing well, trust me, lenders will compete for your business. All right. But in any event, beautiful people, team, I thank you so much for tuning into this video. Again, if this is helpful or you know anybody that's trying to get business credit, please comment, like, share the information. A lot of information is always necessary. No information can be too much when it is something that's going to allow us to benefit in the long run. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. And with that said, people, hopefully get your business credit. It's called 10 Steps to Level Up Your Money. It's a quick read. It's an easy download. If you just, look in the link in the description, you purchase the ebook, you'll be able to see some tips and advice of things that you can do to, actually get your finances to elevate a little bit. Hello, team. Welcome to the Team U Credit and Finance.